Welcome to Journey Through the Gate, Paranormal Portal Podcast, as we delve into the many questions and wonders brought on by this supernatural experience. What's on the other side of the gate? Let's find out together. What is up, my dear people? Let me adjust your camera. How you doing? We're a little fuzzy. You know what? I look exactly like I feel. I'm a little fuzzy. It's been so hot. I mean, I'm telling you, it doesn't help if you're by the ocean, because, you know, if you're 9 miles from the ocean, you know, it's salty. That's about it. But I'm sure everybody's got their thing. It's either too hot, too cold, isn't raining enough, too much rain. Lakes are exploding, things are coming out of the ground. I think it's CERN, but that's just me. Might as well go for demonetization now because we got Bowden on tonight. So I'll just kill it right now, man. How y'all doing? I love y'all so much. I look forward every week you coming in and just, what can I show them? What can we talk about? Is there a story, or is there a ghost thing, or is it a cryptid, or some kind of wild, wonderful natural powers that we have and abilities? And you know, think about it. Think of all the beauty and the miracles that go on around us every day, you know. I'm not getting preachy on you. I'm telling you the truth. I was sitting outside. I had the best 43 minutes of my week. Sitting outside, listening to the birds. Grandmother Willow's in my backyard, and she's blowing, and the chickadees are singing, and the chipmunks are darting back and forth, chasing each other all around, up and down Buddhas, and in and out this and that, and it was just the coolest thing, you know. So try to get you a little piece of that somewhere, somehow, you know what I mean? Just try to do that. Try to recharge a little bit, you know. And you know, at this point in time, I know people, I said somebody at work, I forgot, we were talking about crack corn and how much crack corn, you know, apparently Jimmy cracked it and he didn't care, so I can't care either. The expense has gotten like crazy on everything, but you kind of like you cut back and you tighten up and you go, what's important? And you know what? Feeding the birds and the ducks out here, and you know, seeing all that nature still carrying on, not a care in the world other than getting pushed out of wherever they're at. We had a bear here in Lakewood, New Jersey, not far from me. And I swear, my hand to God, this happened. Our driver comes into work and he's got a video of all of these police and animal control and everything else all surrounding. They're in traffic, they had traffic blocked off. This is black bear. Could have been dark brown. Don't jump in the chat and start. Well, there's no brown. I don't know. It was a big bear. It was a bear. Okay? It was a big bear. I saw a video. So our driver delivers the flowers, takes this video, comes back and shows every woman in my shop that there is a bear and people have guns pointed at it. Phones are flipping, all this. I said, that's it. I called Mar. Mar's son is a detective on that police force. And I said, just tell him Cisco says don't shoot the bear. If you just be cool to the bear. It's not his fault. And to tell you how cool he is, he doesn't argue with me, he doesn't laugh, he doesn't do anything. He does it. And they had a little laugh to it. Cisco knows about the bear. Holy shit. I'm sure the bear's fine. So there you go. Take care of nature. Take care of nature. It's not their fault they're running out of room. You know what I mean? So we have to learn to you know, to do what was that in the back of the day, the noodle, whatever, you know, intertwine with nature, connect back into yourself. So hello to everybody in here. Hello, Sean. How you doing? Paradox. How you doing? And Edna, love you. Sue, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I've seen a lot of new names in here. I'd like to thank you so much. We got like 27 new subscribers this week. Give you all a pat on the back. And I'll tell you what, it's you guys sharing it. It's you guys, you know, putting it on your social media or sharing it with a friend or a coworker. Go, check this woman out. She's absolutely batshit crazy, and we love her. She's an acquired taste. Hi, darling. Hi, Lindsay. She's an acquired taste, but she's not going to BS you. You know, sometimes I have to talk around things and I have to take the long road to get there sometimes, like the back way, because I don't want to be demonetized completely or shut down. And I don't want to exclude anybody, because there's no need to exclude people. We're all in this together. We might be compartmentalized, but we're all in this together. So, there's no reason to, separate. That's what they want. We need to, what are we most alike? And let's start there. Right now, we all need air and water, and for God's sakes, air conditioning. It's so hot here, and our air conditioner's broken again. So I apologize if you hear the window unit. It's tiny little unit. It's really working overtime, but God bless it. I'm blessed to have it, and I'm so blessed to have you guys. Chris Jarvis, welcome in. One of my co-hosts tonight, you all know and love him, and he was here before I was, and he's so dedicated and devoted. He's got I think a beautiful mind. He says he's an asshole. You decide. We love him just the way he is, Mr. Donny Cho. Come on in here, sweetheart. Maybe there he goes. Beep. Hi, sweetie. And hello. I keep telling him, you're not an asshole. You just ask questions. You push buttons. You get answers. You ask those. I think most of them, Donny. What do you think? I think a lot of your questions come just from a place of kind of a different perspective. And this is what I mean. Like, you had never heard of the MacDonald case.
Never.
It wasn't something that was, around, whether it was age or where you were, or where you grew up, or what was around you. You had not heard about, we were talking about Amityville. You'd heard of it, but I don't think you were really in depth.
Yeah, I heard of it, and stuff. I read a few articles about it, but
right.
I didn't really have a
right.
deep dive into it.
So I think what a lot of it is like the deep questions come from the newness of it. Whereas sometimes some of this stuff that, we've been going, hi, Jose, welcome in. Some of this stuff we've been, living through all our lives, like, Aunt Edna and so many people in here, Lisa and, Lindsay, everybody had heard about, like, the MacDonald case so much. So this episode really isn't about the MacDonald case, but because this is all the brainchild of Donny. He said, wouldn't it be great after we do the MacDonald case, the Green Beret killings, if we could take some of our natural born abilities and do something like go ahead.
Bryan's backstage.
Oh, let's bring him in.
Yeah.
So he suggested this gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
And others, and we did have others scheduled, but they had to back out. So tonight, Sir Bryan Bowden has got all this.
Yay.
And it's back tonight. Hello, welcome in, my love.
Like
I heard you had a hard time.
You like my shirt?
Perfect.
Some may find offensive. Yes,
yep.
I'm already offended.
Oh,
end of show. So this is it. I'm going to try to stay monetized tonight, Bryan. We're going to see how long that lasts. We're going to try. Don't even tell. Did you get the headphones? I don't know whether, and God bless, you didn't have to go through so much trouble, sweetie. We appreciate that.
Not a problem.
Bryan is in mid-move, and I mean cross-country.
It's not from here to Jersey, I'll tell you that. But
right.
Yeah, so
right.
I have to get a lot of things situated.
Yeah, but he's going through a huge move and took this time to be with us tonight and had to wrestle, from what I hear, a large amount of people at a retail store to get his headphones, and probably had to hold his tongue. Are you sore? Are you okay? Did you make it through?
Well, I did a little video earlier. I went to get a little camera. Yeah. And I guess it's
welcoming you in.
Gay, transgender. I don't care what your status is. Just be happy. I don't really give a shit personally.
Don't worry.
But
be happy.
This girl Michelle looked exactly like Matt Foley from, you you're gonna live in a van down by the river, and she's trying to, I'm like, open a box that has like one of those electric security tags on it. And I've said like 4 times, I can go get another one. No, we're gonna get this. It's like there's no rhyme or reason. There's no, not to say that it needs to be escalated or move faster, but it was just like, what the fuck?
Yep. What the fuck, man?
What
know. Honey, you moved to Florida. You're good. That's your new F word. I mean, that is going to be in every sentence you say for at least the next 6 months.
I could do like,
and nothing
easily.
Against Florida. It's just something.
Yeah.
It's
I could do.
It's the way it is.
Yeah. I don't know if I hit the mute button. Did I hit the mute button? No.
You're good.
No, you're good. You're 5'5".
Different. Yeah. I could probably go open mic and do at least 45 minutes to over an hour on these people down here. Look,
look, you just moved from New York City, buddy. So you really don't have much to complain about. I mean, you're going from out of the frying pan into the fire, literally.
No, it's oh my God, it's like,
just the heat, honey, and you got crocodiles.
Alligators. And we actually have one in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring them inside the house.
Put out a feeder like I do. I think they eat crack corn. Is that what they eat? It's crazy. So help me real quick. Yeah. I've missed so many people in this chat. Sure. Hello, Glenn. Hello, Linda, my love. I hope you'd put the book down. We know how it ends.
I'm gonna eat while you do that.
We're gonna start reading Amityville Horror next.
My dinner.
Oh, go ahead. Take your time. Let's see. Who else? Did we miss anybody? Hey. Look, my sister's here. Barbara, everybody say hi to my sister Barb. Hi, darling. How you doing, love?
Hi.
Brian just moved out there to Florida. He's not going to be far from you. This is his first couple of days. He's just getting used to the clientele out there.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you do any type of psychic work down in Florida, you have to register and get licensed.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a dog.
Probably.
Do you have to get a rabies shot
or like a gun?
No, it's literally I don't understand. I guess it's a revenue stream for them down there.
Yeah, probably. Well,
so
again, from New York City to you should find the ease. Once you get used to
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, you're gonna be okay. And I'm proud of you, and I appreciate you taking the time to be here tonight.
As a New Yorker, you probably had to have expected that you were going to see some things in Florida that you're going to be like, what the hell?
Right.
I'll tell you.
Hi, sweetheart.
It's a strange place. I'm not like I have tattoos. I have a tattoo.
What does it say? Lord God, help us.
The women down here, I mean, everybody, all these girls, all these women, the young ones, and even like I saw a woman that was like 65, 70 years old. She's got a full sleeve. I'm like, what the fuck is going on down here?
Yeah. Well, if you can't beat them, join them, sweetie.
Yeah, I'm not going to get a sleeve.
You might get matching tattoos or something else, or get rid of that New York license plate as quick as you can.
my actual problem is my
Blue.
youngest. My youngest is the problem I have to watch out for.
Oh,
so
my.
I know my oldest won't get anything with needles involved with it, but my youngest, I'm going to do a preemptive strike, and I'm just going to tattoo on the lower back tattoo. It's going to say my dad has lots of guns and knows how to use them.
I think that's. I remember hearing that about there's something about a shotgun and throughout ages. I think dads of daughters have always felt that way.
Oh, please.
And now you got alligators and it's beautiful. It's beautiful there. My sister's there. A lot of my family is there. I live there in Tampa, Clearwater. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. I can imagine it's very hot right now, but you're coming out of New York, it's hot too. You got all that concrete and buildings.
It was 100 degrees. It's not the heat that's the problem, it's the humidity.
Here we go.
That's the problem. The humidity is just like a wall. It's like, seriously, just take hot chocolate and dump it on you. That's what it's like.
Hey, sweetie.
It's crazy, but like always, mi casa su casa for you, Cisco. And Donnie, if you're down in the area,
I'm just so glad you do it. I'm so proud of you. I mean, I'm like, I don't know how many people called you. I knew you were in Florida. I won't tell you what it was about, but Bowden gets texts from me like, I'm putting face paint on. I'm going in. Do you need me to go in and get your family out of New York?
Seriously. Seriously.
And I'm like, already getting on the
I'm
dark
popping
clothes and
smoke.
everything.
Let's go. I'm popping smoke.
He's like, what? Why? What's wrong? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we're
No,
good.
no.
As long as everything's good, we're good.
But I appreciate the love. That's the family we have, and I
How about
appreciate it.
that?
Yeah, you know
And
what?
if you had said go, I'd have done been there before you put the
Yeah,
exclamation
here,
point on.
here's here. Oh, I don't want to get you involved. Forget it. I'm not going to shut up.
No, don't get no. Look at him. Look at the control. He's gonna explode by the time this is over.
Well,
So
people are missing the big picture here. That's why it needs to be said. But go ahead.
I understand. I understand.
Breathe.
The big picture, the 40,000 view right now is we're all here tonight and we're going to leave feeling better and more empowered and intrigued. And I wanted to ask you, Brian, are you thinking, you mentioned something to me a couple weeks ago, are you thinking now that you're moving and you're getting all, of course, get, settled? That'll take probably sooner than you think.
Right.
But are you going to consider maybe doing sessions or maybe, a small class or work with people or do remote viewing and these things? What are you thinking about for your future, just tentatively?
Okay, so here's the thing, right? I've been told by many people, one of which, who I love to death, her name's Katie Turner. She's probably one of the best psychics I've ever met in my life. She's also stunningly beautiful and a good friend. And she told me when I interviewed her for my show, she said, you need to do more readings. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't want to be a Miss Cleo. So I didn't want to come off as like, some shyster or whatever, because the science side of me questions all this stuff. When you come up with things, it's a question type of thing. Like, am I really getting this? But I have about a 98% accuracy rate, if not a little bit higher. And I've been validated. That's why I'm saying people have validated what I've stated. So I kind of got a little bit tired of all the others, doing other things. But I'm going to be offering readings for people. And then if they want remote viewing, we can do that too. That's a totally separate type of thing. Half-hour sessions to hour sessions. There will be a fee associated.
Mm-hmm.
And
it should be.
Yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't matter if it takes a minute or 60 minutes.
Hey, AJ.
It is what it is. So, yeah, eventually I'll be, I guess if I'm in Florida, I have to license myself. But
right. And get structured and find what you want to do. But the thing is this. I know since really the first time I heard your voice, we connected on the energy level thing and everything else. And I knew you had abilities, you knew I did, and we're both coaxing each other. The way Steve Stockton's coaxed everybody, write it down. Write the stories down. So, I mean, and you do a lot like I do, where you're reaching out in many different ways with creativity. And that's a form of almost meditation for us. So what I'm thinking and why I want to get my foot in the door now and start encouraging you to do so is because I know now that you're getting out of the city and you're in more of a different environment. Let's just put it that way. A lot of that, your energy isn't going to be used up fighting off all this negative and energy that you've had to live in all these years. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Even though you've done a good job of doing it, it's a constant battle where I think you'll get a little more air now. You know?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know what the road would bring to me. What's going to happen. I think it's going to be better for the entire family.
Oh, gosh,
much better than where we were. But you know what? I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm still doing my research. I know a ton of researchers for Bigfoot, Sasquatch. In Florida, I want to hook up with them, especially my buddy Stevie Strange, who is a kick-ass guitar player as well. And I'm going, it's the perfect area where I am living right now, or where I will be.
Love that, Aunt Edna.
Yeah, there's a lot of UFO sightings lately.
Yeah.
And a tremendous amount.
So much stuff. There's so much stuff. Right.
It's
the
just popping
energy
up.
is off the chain. I think you're just right on time getting in the environment that you're going to be in, because like I said, I know for a fact things are going to just go full tilt boogie for you.
Right.
Your abilities are going to really start going, and that's why I'm saying a lot of people could benefit from learning from you, or any, like you said, the road
Right.
that there's going to be lots of different.
100%. And
Yeah.
it's I think, hopefully you get to do your thing where we've been discussing in the background, and I want you to get that stuff done as well for you and your family. I mean, I love you guys are great, but I'm going to be trying to do some active intelligent encounters. I don't like calling them CE5s because even though it was around prior to Dr. Stephen Greer, some people may be fans of him. I am not. He's the type of a-hole that likes to sue people. So I'm just not going to get involved in it. But what we do, and what I've been doing for the beginning, is called an active intelligent encounter. It's all about your intent. It deals with meditation and using your brain and your essence and your third eye, which is about right there, to connect to the universe. And that's what you're trying to do. And you have to understand something. I mean, we talked about this, but what I do, I've been doing for forever, but I haven't realized what it was until I was alerted to it. And then I said, I said to the psychic for our group who's in Arkansas, when I went on the first adventure, with Al and BPS, and I was the number 2 guy there, he, unbeknownst to all of us, because we had a few people go out, he had the psychic, and we do this all the time, scan everybody and check everybody out to see if they're going to be good enough to, if there's any issues. You're going into a situation investigation. It could be dangerous. It could be, some people could be not in a good place. And you talk about attachments all the time. Forget it with Steve, So you kind of want to get rid of that factor of it. And so we have to scan people. So she went around the room and they were saying, they're all right, they're fine. Al's telling me this. And they said to this one guy, he's very in tune with the psychic world. He has a potential. And then Al goes, and then she got to you. And I said, oh, yeah? And she goes, yeah, when she gets a tingle, when someone has a little bit of abilities, she goes, she got blown off her chair. She said, you have a ton of abilities, some of which that are not what she does. She goes, but you have walls up. And my response was, damn straight I have walls up. I live in New York City.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
What I was just trying to say, she said more eloquently and quickly, because I'm trying not to offend people who live in New York City who love that. I'm very close to New York. I know what I'm talking about. Been in and out of it all my life, pretty much.
I'm a New Yorker,
So
born and raised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's a shithole.
But it's it's this. I mean, if you're an empath. And Steve and I have talked about this ad nauseum, where if you might have a hard time going to a Walmart and you don't understand why you're so drained. You think it's from the shopping. You think it's from the adrenaline, like getting there and remembering your shopping list or whatever you're doing. It's the people and it's what's around you. And if you're an empath, like Bryan just said, he didn't realize what it was. He had to unpack everything. And I think a lot of us in the chat are doing the same thing. But in a calmer environment like this, we're in this chat, we could talk about it, go, hey, I had a dream, like Aunt Edna just said. Now things are more clear. I feel like I'm getting a message or something I need to remember. And it's happening to so many people, and only in chats like this and shows like this where we talk about these, you guys know my production. I mean, it's me. I haven't touched the dial since Bryan was here. But this is it.
Don't touch anything.
Don't touch the dials. But what I'm saying is it starts to unfold, and then we start understanding each layer a little bit better. And I think that's going to really happen to you, because it's almost like I'm getting you, Bryan. It's like all this time you've been collecting all this data, and you're not forcing things into files. You're just keeping it in there. It's like a big overstuffed purse kind of. And all of a sudden, when you get rid of all that overbearing stuff, you're a little calmer and you're happier about your family's situation and everything starts easing out. You have time for you. It's going to just go.
That's how it is. I just want to address something that I saw in the chat from Blue Crossroads. Thank you for your service.
Love Blue.
I have family in law enforcement as well. I appreciate what you do. Yeah, Dr. Greer, this is my problem with Dr. Greer, and I'll explain it to you, and then you can decide whatever you want. I'm not here to convince you. I just tell you what I tell you from my experience, and that's it. How does a guy who is an ER surgeon, right? He's just an ER surgeon. How does that guy get to brief presidents? So he's a nobody. He's an ER surgeon, but he's giving briefings to presidents of the United States. That doesn't happen to anybody that's just a doctor. You have to be connected, and I'm winking right now, into something else. And so I believe he is controlled opposition or whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
And I just don't. I don't trust his ass. So
Totally
that's why.
possible.
And it's become like a cult. Either you're a UFO guy and you're with the Greers and selling roses at the airport like the freaking Moonies,
Yep.
or you're against them. It's really become cult-like. And I'm not a MUFON guy. I am not a Greer guy. I am an independent, research investigator, boots on the ground, and I share all my stuff. And I put up the raw data and the raw information as well as anything I may have edited, because I want you guys, you in the field that are listening to this and see my stuff on YouTube under New York State UFO Project or Inside the Goblin Universe or Bronxville Paranormal Society. I want your help. You know what? Too many of these people have these shows and like, oh, look what we found. Well, let me tell you something. We had evidence up, and we had some guy while I was on a show, and they discovered, I must have seen these photos 1,000 different times.
Right.
From a 12-inch screen to a 75-inch screen. I missed it because it's like editing your own work, right, Donnie?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't write your stuff, right? You need an editor. They found a dogman in one photo and a Bigfoot in the other. This is what we need. We need help. I'm going to miss stuff. But you can go and look through it and listen. Like, did you hear it at this second? They say, help me, or something, you caught something.
Right.
So that's this is how I approach things, okay?
Well, honey, we've been trying to get
it.
paranormal unity for a long time, and I've talked to this with Donny too. And this is what we do on this show. My whole point of doing that Bigfoot, and doing In Search of, and doing, even going back to Monsters Among Us, and the Kurt Von Donigan times with Chariots of the Gods and all that kind of stuff. That era is what I'm talking about. They did it in the 70s. It's like talking about music. Somebody will say, oh, Marilyn Manson. I'm like, yeah, I saw it the first time in the 70s when Alice Cooper did it. You know what I mean? It's like
Seriously.
you're not going to come...
Or David Bowie,
Right. Come out with something so new from an ancient thing. We're just going to find new understanding, I believe. You know what I'm saying.
Right. So what happened back in the 70s was it was still tinfoil hat time, right?
Yeah.
You believed in any of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, tinfoil hat. Oh, he's crazy. So we had to kind of group together with people that were like-minded, right? Leonard Nimoy in the turtleneck. You would discuss it with your friends, like, wow, imagine being in a UFO, or if he traveled, what you have currently now is you have a whole bunch of people that have these podcasts. And here's the problem with the podcast. Everybody thinks they're an expert. They've listened to other shows and podcasts, and there are no experts.
No.
I have more experience than some. Some have more experience than me, but I'm not an expert. If anybody calls me an expert, I'm like, no, there are no experts.
I do that too.
Run the other way. So the problem is we have the current state of the paranormal and metaphysical, this whole thing, is a whole bunch of people coming in that are storytellers, non-experiencers, non-researchers, and they're telling stories, and once people start believing one story, they make them even crazier than they were. Now they're throwing in the Nephilim. Now they're throwing in demons. Now they're throwing in some crazy crap, and it's all bullshit. And the problem with that is real boots on the ground researchers. Let me tell you something. You go out into the middle of the damn woods in the pitch black when it's 40 degrees or lower, and you're freezing your ass off trying to catch an encounter with a bipedal Bigfoot cryptid, whatever it is, or UFOs. You smell like crap. It's just miserable. You're there for a day and change. That's the people I want to hear about. I'm tired of all these storytellers.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just,
Or
and that's what we
making
have.
stuff up, because here's
Right.
the deal. We also did, Donnie and I and Dylan, Dylan couldn't be with us today because he's doing a fantastic hike. So keep it up, Dylan. One foot in front of the other, honey. If you're out there listening, it's you can make it. Trust me. The last mile's the worst, but it's also the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like a 30, 40 mile hike. I mean, I've done them. It's
Yeah. Well,
But
God
so there
bless.
you go. I mean, it's not to. Nobody's bashing on Greer. Nobody's, but everybody makes their own mind. But here's the deal. If they tell me, if they're pushing and they're buying a lot of billboards and they're telling me to drink milk and then it says it's from the dairy farm, I'm like, I don't think so. What's
Yep.
going on? I think, why are they pushing it? Why are they putting so much of this here? Why are they trying to get me to do that? I question it. And, it's not being paranoid. It's being, I caught him doing stuff. So here's it. This is the thing. The narrative is one thing. They're going to give you a little bit, and they're a little bit of truth, just like they did in the JFK assassination murder. They're going to give you a little bit of truth, so it rings true, and then they're going to wrap it in lies, and they're going to push the narrative at you and try to steer you in this direction. And if anybody veers out of that line, they're going to call them crazy, conspiracy theorist, a lunatic, tinfoil hat, whatever. But I can tell you, in this decade, I have seen more foil hats turning into foil crowns, and you have too. And anybody paying attention has, and trying to come up in that 40,000-foot view. I saw a thing today too that said, so many people spreading hate and, all this and yelling and screaming at each other for tolerance. But love keeps getting whispered, and maybe we should be shouting the love. So that's what I was saying in the beginning. If you can't talk to human beings because everybody's just loony right now, let them settle down. Go talk to nature. Go do that. Do what Brian's saying. Go stand under the stars. Take up, get a telescope from a pawn shop or a used place or somewhere and look at the stars. What do you do, Donnie, to chill?
Well, one of the things I've learned lately since getting into this whole scene that I'm coming to realize, if you're not spiritually mature, don't bother getting into the paranormal.
That's a great statement.
That's
a great statement.
That's
yeah. And it has nothing to do with religion or what he's saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not saying I
Yeah.
have my definition of what spiritually
Yeah.
mature is, but
We
I'm
all
just talking
do.
about in general, depending on whatever faith system or personal philosophy you go by. If the individual is not, I have a rule: I don't talk about paranormal stuff with kids.
Hey, Damien.
You know,
Okay. There you
because
go.
they're not
Yeah.
mature enough yet.
Yeah.
You know.
right.
Oh, I will tell him a good ghost story, though.
And I see a lot of people who are like very. Oh no, I will tell like campfire stories
you
to
better
death.
believe I will.
Yeah, to death.
Gather
But,
around, children. Here we go.
But
Shit's gonna hit the fan right now, kids. Let's
Might as
go.
well learn now. There's crazy
yeah, but
stuff
I've
out
seen
there.
a lot of people, and
No, but I kid.
some of the people you encounter, you're just like, man, this person has like no spiritual foundation, and then they get
Yeah.
into the paranormal and they just go like all over the place, you know.
Great statement here, Corey, and welcome in, by the way, to all the new people
Yep.
coming in. Let me just pause tap the break for just a second. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you guys wouldn't mind, go back out just for a second. We're going to take a thumbs up pause. So you can take your pause and hit that thumbs up button, because this is the thing. We are getting subscribers, and it's just more people that get to be here and come in here and experience this wonderful chat and everything. It's just getting the word out, like Brian's saying, and Donnie is also trying to do and learning along with we're all learning. So if you could send it out, do it. If you can share it on your social media, do it. But right now, just put the thumbs up. We got 32 in here. Thank you so much. Comment after the fact. I love the guys that come back. I know you were here and you stop it in your time, in your day, and you go back just to put a nice comment. Donnie does it all the time. Thank you so much, because it helps. People are seeing it, and that's the best part. We're just all having fun, and the bigger the group gets, the more light that's out there, guys. You know what I'm saying? So thank you so much, and welcome, Corey. All the gatekeepers here, the mods are absolutely wonderful. Tonight, this was actually Donnie's idea. I want to go back to that for just a minute because he's so intrigued by this. We all are. And the question I'm going to have tonight is remote viewing just mainly ESP? Is it just a psychic phenomena? What is it? Do we have to understand? Do we have to put it in a box? And what do you think it is, Brian? Because you said you didn't even know what it was until some
And
people
Well,
started explaining.
Also, real quick, what's
Go
the
ahead.
difference between a remote viewer and like a regular psychic? You know?
Okay, so a lot of psychics, depending on who they are and what their gifts are, have different gifts, levels of gifts. So there are psychics that can see things that are going to take place in the future. They can see things in the past. They can see things past, present, and future. There are people that can, I forgot the term. I don't know all the terms for these. There are actual terms. Tachometry, where they can touch an object and tell you everything about it.
Psychometry, yeah. And
Yeah.
then, oh gosh, yeah.
And there's a whole variety of them. So the difference is this, and this is what I can at will use my essence, my third eye, my connection, or the ability to connect, and I call it into. I wouldn't say it's the Kosh record. It's into the I don't know. I vibrate at a higher frequency, and it goes someplace where
someplace.
yeah,
It's
I
amazing.
connect, and I'm able to go from point A to point B, and not necessarily. And when if someone gives me a coordinate, or they give me something like an envelope, and they say, well, what is going on in the envelope? I they don't have to tell me a thing, and I can sit there and I can understand it through kind of like a meditative type of state where you kind of bring yourself down, you kind of clear out all the junk, and you start seeing it and you start traveling to it. Now, the way it works for me is if I'm asked to find something, I can see it in my mind's eye, and I'll explain mind's eye to you, okay? If I say the number 23, can you see it in your head? You know what the numbers look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see the 2 and the 3. So if I said 265, you can see the 2, the 6, and the 5. It's in your brain. That's how it is. It just appears in your head as if you've known it your entire life.
Amazing.
I can't really explain it, okay? That's one. 2, when someone asks me to, and I've been asked this, to help with finding something or where the problem is, I learned the hard way on this. I will be brought exactly to the location that's the problem. I didn't know this. I used to like, okay, I'm here at the same spot. Why am I here? And I start walking around mentally. I'm actually moving around property in my brain. Like I'm seeing everything. I can smell things that are there. I can touch it. I can you kind of get like flavors,
Yeah. Wow.
everything. And you can, it's really, really bizarre. And that's why I say, and I was kind of pointing to, mentioning to Donny and everybody, that when something like this happens, you question it. And you're like, am I having a flashback
Yeah.
from some acid I took, like,
Yeah.
10 or 12? No, it's real. And you can see things happen. You can see where objects were and individuals that may have taken them and moved them elsewhere or stolen them. You kind of get a general direction, or it's just an instantaneous feeling. And that's how I do it. And everybody can do this, Mike. I am not something that's out of control or special. Everybody has the ability to use, I guess, the psychicness or to remote view. It's just you got to exercise that muscle. You got to decalcify this. Take a lot of iodine. That helps to get rid of the fluoride that's in your third eye, which is right here where you connect to. It's like a connection basically to God and everything that has existed. Similar to the Akash record.
And I'd like to add a connection to yourself because
Yes.
this is just my theory right now, if I can throw this in real quick.
Throw it.
I don't think we're ever disconnected. Do you ever hear about the golden threads? And there's an old story about the women with the scissors. I think that's Greek mythology, isn't it?
The Sisters of Fate, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
And the cutting of the golden threads. This is all throughout all of history, written history, spoken history, tribal. And I think that that's the divine spark. You can put whatever names on it you want, but I think there is a connection to source constantly. And if you look at auras, you can kind of see, in a
Well,
lot of ways. You see?
auras dictate auras are what tell other people that have abilities what they're encountering and how to, so they know.
And they change. This is something you don't
Oh, yes,
understand
they
about.
do.
A lot of people don't understand about auras, because I see a lot of people, like if you come into a psychic fair, you see a lot of new people come in and they're just learning, which is great because we all are just learning. And they'll say, I had a medium once and she told me my aura was hot pink and blue. Those are my colors. And I'm like, honey, yeah, but now they're like green and you got
Yep.
purple in it. You got some yellow and you got a little brown going on around your knee because you might have banged it on something, or you got a little arthritis going on in there. The thing is it changes because your body puts out different energy at different times. If you're sick, if you're
Right.
depressed and things like that. So just understand, auras change. They don't stay exactly the same. Your base is kind of your base energy that you
Right.
put out, but the rest of it changes because they're meant to tell something. Your body is always trying to tell you something, and we ignore it.
Yeah,
Most of
it's
the
like
time.
if you want to get a scientific term or a sci-fi term, it is your shields, like in Star Trek or in Star Wars. And let me tell you something: if you don't have a strong aura or your shields are not up properly, you're going to get a jumper or you're going to get boarded, and not in a good way.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, and
It's so true. So true.
it's funny. I've tried forever to see auras, and I don't get it all the time. It's sometimes it's just like you can see it, like
I think, Brian, I think it's this. I think we get struggled, and it just came to me clearly that we're trying to understand something that shifts and changes as we need it, and we may understand it later on. Like Donny said, in another way to put it, saying the same exact thing, your consciousness, when your consciousness raises high enough to understand it, you see things different. It's exactly like we started this episode. When
Right.
you have that 40,000 foot view, you can see everything. You're not pinpointed on one thing. And if you do pinpoint and focus, you come back out again and go, okay, that's how it all fits in. And this is what we mean by people's names that you might know, or ancient aliens. We all, like, when that
Right.
first came out, everybody was this and but they're only going to tell you what they want you to know. And they're only going to tell you what they want you to think. They're only going to give you pieces of it. I remember everybody's going nuts over disclosure, and I'm like, why do you
Oh,
need
my
a
God.
government that you don't trust tell you something you already know? And when everybody says that all ghosts are the same, all aliens are the same, all this is the same, I don't even think all Bigfoots are the same.
No, they're
Because
not.
not all people are the same. And
Yep.
you can have 15 red-headed, blue-eyed, green people, and 3 out of 10 of them might be absolutely, batshit crazy and evil. And the others are just perfectly fine. So if that's true in human beings, if that's true I've seen it in hamsters, for the love of God.
Oh yeah,
You know?
everything
So
has
why
a
are
little
we thinking?
something.
Yeah, so why are you thinking all aliens are coming, they're higher intelligence and, and all this? Look, if they had their shit together, what would they be coming here for?
Well,
We obviously don't.
not to get into that, but
Right,
something I
but
find very comical is when they
so
say
different.
when people refer to the Galactic Federation, you lost me. That's such
Yeah,
that's
I
such
just,
BS and
yeah,
bunk. It's beyond
yeah.
belief.
I can see
What if
some
they
of
start
them
getting into
working
like
together.
individual races, like the Arcturians and Pleiadians and the
Well,
Yeah. I
like I
think
said
there's
before,
so much out there, and I think there's interdimensionals. I'm going to go ahead. I found out a long time ago. Go ahead and just anything is possible until you could disprove its probability. But then you
There's
go back
hundreds.
100 years,
yeah.
and they would disprove a Zippo lighter.
Yeah,
I mean, but you know what I'm saying? It just depends. Go back 200 years and show them a cell phone. They'd think you were an alien. So it's your perception. It's what you understand to be normal and in your daily life you're used to seeing. When we see something different, whether it's a magic trick on television or if it's a faster car or a, do you know what I'm saying here? A faster plane. We're amazed by it, and they're going to be amazed by things hopefully 100 years from now.
Right.
But they're any information that you're getting in movies and television, even so-called reality documentaries, which are so scripted it's not even funny. It's all of that. So what are they showing you? What are they telling you? It's like we said when we were talking with Steve and many other people about Chameleon and all that. If they're showing you in a movie, we had it 20 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, technology-wise, we are at least 150 years ahead of anybody on this planet.
Right. And the last point on the people that are coming out saying stuff, there's not a lot of, what's the word for it? Like your Lone Rangers coming out and saying, look, this is the truth, man. This is what's really going on. Because those people get persecuted, struck down, suicided, shut up, thrown out, and called kook. The ones that are getting all the airtime, you got to wonder why. That's what I'm saying.
See, this is the problem I have. And I was on a Space Out Radio, which I love, and I love Dave Scott. But we were doing the disclosure thing, and I said disclosure happened in 1977 with the release of Close Encounters of the Third Kind because Alan J. Hynek was in it, and everything. It was global. It was a global movie. It was great. They showed the interaction with the aliens in the U.S. and the trading of people. Everything was there, and Hynek never, ever, ever violated that government disclosure clause, right? So you know what that is. If you're in the military, you're working military, you're going to throw your ass in jail. It's not a joke. Okay.
Yeah, you got an NDE. You can't speak on it or you can't tell. But then again, at the same time, they will take a pilot who saw an aircraft and chased it and had it on radar, and everybody in the control tower and co-pilots and everything else, they all see it, and they're persecuted for telling the truth. So why is that happening? And I think it's because they just don't want us to know how absolutely incredibly powerful we are. They try to hold us down with rules and religion. They hold us down with this, hold us down with information and everything else. So when you start to open up and go, all of this is possible, and I don't need the categories like this guy's right, this guy's wrong, I just want to learn how to do it. I just want to learn how to connect back in. I think we were cut off somewhere, whether our DNA was changed, and I've heard that. I've heard all kinds of things. The point is we still have the ability. We just you gotta want it. You know what I mean? In this day and age.
The ridicule has always been there because it doesn't look good. Aliens were considered,
Thank you.
whatever poo-poo type of stuff, and it's a great way to ruin your career. That's why most pilots are military-based, and they've seen shit. They've talked about it amongst themselves, but there's no way they're going to report it. The Tic Tac video and what's the other one? I forgot the name of it. I saw those years ago. Everybody's going Google Gaga over this crap, and I'm like, this has been years ago. What the hell?
That's why I said Marilyn Manson and Alice Cooper.
Right.
That's why I'm showing shows like in Search of It. They didn't get it right all the time, and we've had more information since then. We can add to it, but at their time, that was the peak. And then people are coming into all these brave souls that are dads of, kids, and they're coming out and risking their job and going to work at the factory because they're a supervisor or they're a teacher. Do you know the ridicule?
Yeah.
And everything else.
There.
But they want to tell the
myself.
truth. Yeah, they want to tell. Look what they did to Travis Walton.
Oh my God! I talked to Travis about that, and I was,
I know he brought some stuff back too. You can tell by the way he smiles when you ask him. He said, "Talk about that." Good for him.
But here's the only good thing that happened from the disclosure crap was that now it's a little bit more mainstream. So if you've seen a UFO, you're not crazy, and it allows pilots to actually publicly say, "Yeah, there was a craft there," which is good because there's safety issues on it. But I also had problem with the people that were involved in it, like Lou Elizondo, and you know what? And what I stated, and I'll state it again. I am very thankful for men and women like Lou Elizondo what they do for this country in their military service. I can't thank them enough. I thank every man and woman, and for their service to this country and protecting us. But basically, what he did for a living and what he went back to doing for a living is he is deceiving people and lying to people. That was his job.
And
so why all of a sudden are we supposed to believe everything it says? Do you understand what I'm saying? And they're
going to do the job. They're going to do what they're told to do. It's like so many people come out here. I find the brave people, the Bill Coopers, the Jim Mars, and I know there's people in here that didn't quite get Jim, but I've spoken to Jim off, and followed him for years. The man was the shit.
Yeah,
absolute shit. I mean, he was. Now, one of the reasons I bring him up, and not to digress or anything, but
sure.
Donnie's got a little plan, and we're going to go through some stuff real quick, but and is brilliant. His ideas are brilliant, and a lot of times stuff you don't know, guys. We had something else planned with Bryan and everything else, and people got busy and things happened, and I can call up Donnie on a Sunday morning or tell Donnie a Sunday morning, I'm like, I don't know, I have to do this, maybe it'll come to me, and he'll structure me out and go, let's do this. It's a great, he comes up with the best ideas, and I thank you for that, Donnie. You're a good friend. So I had a little piece. I thought I would like to mention Jim, because a lot of people may not realize that Jim Mars was a remote viewer, and he was involved in those little secret black ops, little division groups that the government put together. Welcome in, Carol. Hey, Casual Conversation. Hey, welcome in.
Hey,
Donnie, look who's here. You guys did a great job the other night. I watched the interview. Donnie did good. You guys did good. And I would love to come on. Donnie
that was very fun. It was like one of the most fun times I've had.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good combo. So, Jim Mars, he was also part of this, and he was one of the people that came out and was talking about it, because it got real big and people asked questions of the men and goats, but they made it so silly. But those things absolutely exist. You ever heard of DARPA? You ever heard of some of these other things? So what I found for you guys was a little trailer. Now, if my mod can... I sent that link out. I didn't want to send it to everybody. Mairead, I'm going to start sending you links for these shows too, honey, because you're here and you do great picking up these links. But it's a little show, movie called Third Eye Spies. It's available on YouTube for free, not even, where buy or rent. You can watch it for free, and I think it's really well put together. I pulled up the trailer, and I'd like to share it with you all now to give you a little idea what we're talking about. And Bryan, if this sparks, sets you off in another direction afterwards, let's go. Sure. Because I think it will. The way they structured this is just a short little trailer clip, and I hope you guys like it. But
I'm gonna go smoke and watch. I'll be back.
Go ahead, sweetheart. So, oh yeah, DARPA gives me the creeps too. I'll tell you what.
I'm gonna eat and watch.
Yeah, go ahead. And believe me with DARPA, I know. Okay, here we go.
If you had an ability to be able to remotely receive stuff any place in the world, that could be an extraordinary intelligence source.
We found that many individuals are able to accurately describe what's going on in distant locations.
Are you saying that the work you've been doing is classified?
It was a research facility. That was all that we were going to tell them.
The Russians have been spending millions of dollars investigating so-called ESP.
Psychic spies. Almost a psychic arms race here. Is there any real application to this?
I think remote viewing has been demonstrated over the 20 years of work that's been sponsored by the government.
Producing crucial and vital intelligence to the NSA, CIA, DEA, and the Secret Service.
I began to feel frightened.
The KGB did it, man.
What's really going on here? state-sponsored assassination attempt.
The CIA was lying.
They wanted to kill the program.
A storm brewing.
This is real.
I say no more secrets.
Let this information out.
Wow.
Well, here's
Powerful little trailer there.
yeah, it's real.
And there's the link to watch that whole movie. It's a full-length movie on YouTube after this if you're interested in seeing what they were doing. That's just one. Also, Jim Mars has another one out there. And Uncommon Belief, if you drop that other link, and thank you so, so much. You're just a primo mod.
Yep. Thanks. That's awesome. Uncommon Belief. Here's the problem. It's not very secretive because even when you remote view, and I'm telling you straight up, I literally got I got caught a couple of times remote viewing, and it happens because there are people that can remote view and they can see all these things. Yeah, they see these things. They can see
you there sometimes. Is that not incredible?
100% can see you.
It's a trip, and it was Donny's idea, and I didn't tell you this, Bri, but
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and tell a little bit of the story, and Bri can tell what he wants to tell, because I think it's important. You've heard Steve and I talk about Cool Breeze. And you've heard us talk about how a lot of strangers got together to help a stranger who was really in trouble and needed help crossing and was coming into Steve's dreams. And kind of like American Werewolf in London, where every time he showed up, he was a little more decomposed, a little bit more weak, and a little bit like he was losing time. And we all just got together and did what we could. Everybody used their abilities and connected to try to cross this guy over. And we did. All together. It took a village, basically. And I'm getting echo big time.
That's not from me.
It's not from you.
That's
What's
Donny
happening?
Cho.
Uh-oh. Okay.
betting.
Oh, he's
That was
got his
me.
phone.
Yeah,
It's
that
okay.
was me on my
No,
phone.
no.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sweetie, it's fine. As long as we know what it is, because I'm panicked. I'm like, I'm hitting, but my mind said, well, Brian's right here. He's going to start telling me to turn dials. But, so we did the Cool Breeze. Now, in the book, and the book I'm talking about is We Are All Children in the Wilderness of the Afterlife. There's my book, and it's with Steve. And Steve comes in, and a lot of you have read it, and thank you dearly for that, because the fact that I could write something and you guys got something out of it blows my mind. That you enjoyed it absolutely tickles me crazy, and that you love the stories, you were into it, and you know, I can't, there's no words to describe how that makes me feel, so thank you for that.
Right.
Donny said, why don't we talk a little bit about the chapter. What happened was we had a close death in my family, and I wasn't in the position, and I don't mean I wasn't in the position to be able to go and do something. It wasn't my thing to do. It was somebody else's, and I knew it. And it put me in a position of, oh my God, this is why I can't fix this one. I can't. I have to take the hat off, and I have to let this person do this. And this person was my son, and it was his father. And he had gotten in a car accident. And in this book, there's a chapter called A Tale of Two Bikers. Cool Breeze is one of them, and a really cool guy named Danny is the other. And he was my ex-husband, and we always remained friends. And he was a one percenter. He was a pagan. He was, you know, he was the real deal. And when I met him, I was just, whoa, you know. And you'd have loved him, Donny, because he looked like almost like a wrestler, you know, like a hairy bear wrestler. But anyhow, the thing is he was extremely, like Donny says, spiritual, although he would never admit it, and a little frightened, like he wasn't worthy for that. So he was always, I'm always going to be this dog that has to sit outside, you know, because that's just my life. He had this thing. And anyhow, I knew there was going to be a problem with the anger and the fear that turns to anger and blocks everything. And I sat on the kitchen floor. I slid down I literally did that thing where I slid down the cabinets and landed on the floor. And I asked my guides, and they said, call him. And I'm like, who? Who do I call? And I have no idea. So I have to take myself out of it, like Bryan said. Separate what's you and what's other, these emotions. Get down to the core of you. And I said, okay, I can't do this. I have to ask my guides, help me. I took my contact list on my phone, literally, closed my eyes and run my finger. And I got nothing. I moved it up, did it again, and I got a tingle in the bees. And I looked down, what my finger was over the name, and I said, what? Not because of any other reason, but I had no idea, because my guides were telling me there's somebody who has an ability that can go for you and do what you wanted to do. And I went, well, hell yeah, and I called. And this man here tells me, I don't often tell people I do it. I said I had no idea, but I told him the story I just told you. He says, you don't need to tell me anymore. I'm going in. And that's the chapter that you read in A Tale of Two Bikers. You want to take it from there?
Me? Sure. So if anybody wants to know, I'm not part of the Illuminati, but I was going to a Freemason meeting because I have a lot of friends there. I'm a member. I'm a Knights Templar. And there's a lot of esoteric benefit to it that actually works in the paranormal side of it. It's vibrating a higher frequency. So there I am in this car. It's about 7-something in the evening, whatever, just about to go in. And I get the message from you, Cisco. And so I stopped and I started to do what I do to try to get to that point. And I said, okay, I had to clear myself out. And then I just kind of went there. Mm-hmm. And I went to this spot, this place, and it's really weird. It was the ether between Earth and heaven. There's a little space between it. And that's that's the area where a lot of really weird, Ron calls it the Goblin Universe, but it's the area where anything and everything can happen. And a lot of what happens is because you made the choice. So there I meet this really pissed off biker guy. Okay? I mean, really pissed off. And I'm like, hey, hey, he's like, he's cursing at me. Who the fuck are you? What the and I'm like, whoa. And I'm explaining to him what's taking place. I said, you had a bad accident. You are hooked up to a bunch of machines right now in the hospital. Your son is sitting there holding your hand by the side of your bed, devastated. And you have a choice to make right now, whether you want to fight and live or you want to go. And he goes, and he went ballistic. F you, I'm not doing you. Who the fuck? I thought I was going to get killed. And I wasn't physically there, but I was there consciously. And I said, this is what's going on, man. He was, because I read him too. He was freaked out beyond belief. He was very scared because the thought of not fighting and moving on, his fear was his past. Not the greatest past in the planet. And he goes, who the hell are you? I said, I was sent by a friend. Who's, and I was, he goes, what friend sent you? He was freaking out. So I went back to you and I called you, I think, at that point. I'm like, look, he's there. He's really pissed. I told you, I explained to you what he was going on with him. And I said, he wants to know who the hell sent me. What do I, they tell him Cisco. She goes, no. And you told me what sent him. So I said, okay, well, I'll do it because I had no idea what the other name was.
He's extremely bombastic.
Oh.
I mean, bombastic. The energy that comes off this man. I mean, if you've ever seen anything to where somebody gets up, flips a table, and just like grows like a Hulk in front of you, That's this guy, and when his anger and confusion, and like I said, some people are like that. When when you're really frightened, your anger is this wall that just, and I knew I could feel he was angry and pissed, had no idea what was going on. When they told me he went over that motorcycle the way he hit on his head, I'm like, okay, now he doesn't even realize what happened. So he's going to be erratic and scared and frightened, and with all of the doubts before.
Yeah.
I knew.
Yeah,
So,
just picture walking down the street, and the next minute you're in a room that's black with a little bit of light coming from one side and another, like a very, very, small pockets of light, and you don't know where the hell you are, and you're freaking out. You can't find your way out. You're screaming. I mean, he was, the visions of the Incredible Hulk coming out, the muscles or whatever.
Yeah.
And to be brutally honest, I was like, oh shit, I really don't know if I'm going to go back in on this one, but I went back in, and he goes, what the hell, I told you to leave me alone. What the hell are you doing here? I said, look, I was sent here. I was told to tell you who sent you. And I told him the name. And he stopped immediately. And he had this, like I'm doing right now with my head, son of a bitch.
Bitch, that's him.
And he had this stupid little smile on his face, like, all right. I said, are we okay? He's like, yeah, okay.
Let me stop you right there. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I'm trying to tell you over and over and over again. One pinpoint of light, of love, true love, injected into that darkness did that.
Yep.
I'm not just talking out my braids here.
No. You there was a connection between you and him. Had it been a different lifetime, you probably were at a different lifetime.
We had to finish it.
Oh yeah, no, this is it. It's going to continue again, and
but
you're going to be,
trauma,
yeah. And once I told him the name, he chilled out. Now I want to let you know, and I the whole time this was going on, when she contacted me through the messenger, and when I started going, I had the same thing. Same words running through my brain, and I'll tell you the words. I said, eat a peach, eat a peach, eat a peach.
Oh, gosh, I forgot.
Okay? Eat a peach, eat a peach. Now, I didn't say anything to anybody because I'm like, okay,
how
whatever.
Beautiful.
So I'm talking to him, and I said, look, your son's there. And it was Jay, right? And he was just... He's just been through his own demons right there, and he's on a really good path, and then this shit happens. And I know you're worried about him on that, but he was good. He was,
He handled it like a man. He went through...
He handled it like a human being.
Yeah, very well said.
Yeah.
That it was, both of them were finishing something there.
Yeah.
I was thinking at this point in time, again, still sitting on the kitchen floor, by the way. I haven't moved. This is hours and hours, and, just going, okay, what do I do next? What do I do next? Give me clarity. What do I do next? Do this. Say this to Jess. Text Jess this. Text him an encouragement that he needs to hear this now. And I was just following... I was on. I was like, we were all, again, very much like Cool Bees, kind of working together here. And I had to send 2 other remote viewers in, by the way, while he was coming out, getting a rest to go back in, because it's very draining, is it not?
It's extremely draining, but I was doing the best I can with what.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you out.
I had to send 2 pretty remote viewers in there because I said, he can see you, and he said, yes, he sees me all right. Because he turned around and said, who the fuck are you? And I said, that's him. You got him. That's wonderful. Yeah. So excited. And and I said, okay, well, I'm going to do something while you're doing this. I got this beautiful, Tammy's absolutely gorgeous, long brown hair. You know, he's a guy. And I have another friend, I won't say her name because I haven't got permission, but again, beautiful woman, does this, all that we're doing now. She has a show, and she does this too, the remote viewing.
Yeah.
She goes, I can only do it when I'm supposed to. And I thought, oh, what a great answer. And I said, listen, I just need you to go in there and go, you need to calm down, you're going to be all right. And one of them, he turned around and he said, are you an angel? And she said, no, but one sent me. And I thought that was so sweet.
Yeah, that's a great line right there.
What a great line. No, but one sent me, and you're going to be okay. And, you know, he said, I thought you were that guy again, you know, you. And he said, and he goes, oh, but he's coming back, you know. And he was like, that's when he got mad. And she's like, poof, I guess sending pretty women in to keep him busy.
It's a tough thing to be, you know,
So
like
funny.
just again,
It's
imagine
not,
you're
but it
in
is.
your house and then boom, somebody appears in
shows
your
up.
room and it's telling you shit. And so I'm telling him, and he calmed down after I told him the name, and he's like,
Yeah.
okay. And I said, listen, you have to make a choice here, and it's your choice to make. No one's going to make it but you. And you're in a bad situation. You are hooked up. You're in a hospital right now. Your son's at your bedside, but you have a choice to live, and it's going to be a very long, painful fight to come back some kind of recovery. Or you can move on, and you can move on to the next stage of whatever it is. And I did mention, like, I'm not here about your past. That is something you have to make peace with what's going on right now, and then the next step, depending on what it is, will determine, you know, other issues. But I know you're nervous. I didn't say the word scared to him because he's a big, bulky guy, and guys don't. You know, when you said he was a man about it, I'm just trying to explain, and I wasn't being
Right. You see
and I
what I
want to
mean?
be. This was a huge, tough thing for your
Oh, my
son.
gosh. Oh.
But
Oh.
he, from what he was, you know, I think the stuff that he went through initially brought him to a place where he can handle this.
Yeah.
And like they say, God, or you want to call it spirit, only gives you enough that you can handle. So.
It's what you do with it, too.
Right. So I said to him, I said, I can't heal you. I can't fix you. You can fix you. And you need to make the choice. And I can tell you, the person that sent me loves you to death. Your kid loves you to death.
Yep.
And, you know, that's what it is. And at that point, he got it. And he was really calmed down. And I said, look, I remember saying to him, I said, I know I said, I don't want to offend you and I don't want to get you mad at me, you know, but I know you're like scared, and you very well should be because of the situation. However, trust in what I'm telling you that it's going to be okay. Either way, it's your choice whether you want pain, you know, it's going to be painful recovering, or you can go on and start again. We'll say it that way. And he nodded. He got it. You could see it in his face. It's really weird how to describe this. It's like I'm looking at you, Cisco, and Donny, and you know, I can see your face because I see you on a video, or in person. I've seen you in person too. I see his face, and it's as if I'm watching it on a video. I've seen him before, and he kind of said, like, yeah, like agreeing, like almost like a thank you in his way, and that was it. And then I said, I'm leaving.
He got it, though.
But he got it.
Yeah.
And he made that choice, and he did what he had to do.
And I told you he would when he
Right.
got it and understood. And that's, again, while I'm trying to explain to people who are truly, truly trying to make a difference. And what do I mean by making a difference in this subject? If you're an investigator, you know what you're doing, you know. But if you're really trying to make a difference, you really have to, you know, get out of the labels, and you have to understand that this is going to happen with all of us, and it's happened before, and we're all here to learn from each other and assist each other and to work through our own shit, their shit, our shit collectively. and move through it. And it's how you do that. It's not how well you come off in the end. It's how well you are and how true you are to yourself and to your own moral compass and all these things. This man was extremely tough, would not go in for any, I mean, he proved that over and over and over in his life. He loved me because I wouldn't back down from him. And that's what intrigued him. I wasn't scared of him. I love. Thank you so much, Stephen Lewis, for that super sticker. Love you, love you, love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That goes towards
Thank
the
you, Stephen
StreamYard.
Lewis.
We
Yes,
so
thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you, Stephen.
Mr. Lewis.
Every
Thank you.
bit helps. Absolutely. Thank you, thank you. So that's the whole thing. So if we can get through to someone like that, this man had a good heart, no doubt. And I mean, he was a very compassionate man and cared about. That's the whole reason he got out of the motorcycle thing, because it was, the lore of the life was one thing, the lifestyle was another, and things they did was another. So he worked through all that in life. In this moment, he was working through the compound of that, everything.
He never
In
wanted to
that one
disappoint
spot.
you, by the way.
Yeah.
And I,
Sweetie.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep, I keep
Yeah.
things personal.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I was never disappointed in him. I think I was more disappointed in me and the timing. We did what we did. We were supposed to be together for what we would be together, and we got a great son. And you're going to find people like that. And if you can look back and not be angry because it didn't come out, or I don't believe this person did that, or I don't believe I did that because they did that, we get caught up in all that. Well, you just think, okay, maybe we were just supposed to be together for this amount of time to learn from each other and grow in a way, and that's it, instead of making it so, because when it comes down to a moment like this, none of that shit matters.
No, every time you meet new people in your life, it's a new door opening, and it's meant to be. You were meant to lose. You meet new people, and some people you used to talk to all the time just disappear. They fade away. That your time with that person is done.
And sometimes people are just here to agitate you, so you can work on your weakness.
Those people.
Or your, but that's it. And it happens to me all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain because when I do what I do, and when I meet, I know things are, this is a new chapter. Oh, this is a new, sub chapter. I can't explain it to my wife or at all. She doesn't get it, and she's never going to get it. She's never going to understand it.
Yeah.
She's not.
It's like steps in the stairwell.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but it's like when you called me, and the minute I met you, I just knew that we've known each other for a long, long time, longer than this lifetime.
Yeah.
And I know I had to do it. I get that with a bunch of people. I got it with, Donny is part of that. Donny was. We know Donny from a long, long time ago, Donny. You're an old soul, and you don't even realize it. Well, sometimes you do, but you definitely realize. But this is when you connect with people. You're reconnecting with people because you said, "Listen, we'll meet up down there," and that's what happens. That's when you connect. But this whole thing was very draining experience. But I'm glad that it got resolved. And I'm sorry for any the loss and whatever.
Well,
but I was saying before, when I said eat a peach.
Yes, that's
after I was finished, I called you up and I said, "Listen, I'm gonna say something to you, and I want to know if this triggers anything with you." And I said, the whole entire time that we were talking, before I even went in there or whatever, I got all that I kept hearing is eat a peach. And she goes, yeah. She goes, oh my God.
Back on the floor again, by the way.
Right,
Now,
right.
I got up. Now I'm back on the floor again.
And here's the basis for this, okay? So the Allman Brothers Band, great band, had an album called Eat a Peach. And the reason it was named Eat a Peach is because Dwayne Allman, one of the greatest slide guitarists on the planet, drove his fucking motorcycle to the back of a peach truck, and they called it Eat a Peach. And that's literally the vision I got of what your other did. And I was like, eat a peach, eat a peach.
Oh, it was bigger than that.
Yeah.
Throughout our entire time we knew him, and I knew him many years.
Right.
And he'd tell me he always had this this way about him. Like I said, tough, gruff, you know.
Yeah.
But I knew under there was, and there were plenty. And he said he would always get upset. People, he's riding a Harley and he's doing this, he's doing that. You know, he was one of those who complained about having to wear a helmet, and I mean, that whole thing, that's when he was at his best, man. When that wind, what do they call it? Therapy, wind therapy. And he'd always say, and he says, look, man, if I gotta go, that's exactly how I want to go. I want to go just like Dwayne. I'm going to eat a peach, baby. I'm going to eat a fucking peach. And I just went. Yeah. And I would tease him about it and say, hey, you go doing something that makes you happy. He said, that's what I want. He said, if you're going to do something that makes you happy, he said, I understand all that. And that's exactly the way he went. He was a sweetie. He went and he cooked, he fed the whole bar that was like across. We went on a ride, and he wasn't drunk or anything else, and he hit a construction thing that wasn't there before, and it wasn't properly marked, and that was it. And let me tell you, it hasn't stopped, because everybody since he's passed will find quarters with a Georgia peach on the back of it, and it usually has a date that has something to do with that person or him, and it's found in different places, like on a dresser top where it wasn't before, and everything else. And our family actually has a frame with all of them in it, and that's him. And I think in the places and the way he's also setting it, he's also letting me know he's going through levels now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. And he's doing a great job, too, by the way, because he did have help over there. And that's one of the things you told him. There will be help over there. There will be people that you recognize. There will be loved ones there. So anyway, and that was one of the things that was cool, because he didn't like to ask for help. He wanted to do things on his own. And I think that's why he got blocked there, But so it hasn't ended. And I thought very deeply about writing this in the book, and because it is, it's personal, but it's only us, right? So but it needs to be shared, because how many of us have gone through these things, or how many times have you been and you're told a friend or somebody is in a coma and they can't hear you? Bullshit. I'm gonna say bullshit. Don't believe that.
They can hear you, and they can hear you very well.
And you're still going through that final, finishings, if you want to say something or whatever. And again, it's not too late. Say it now. I'm telling you, say it now. And it's not just for you. But when all this was going on, and I was considering writing the book, and I definitely wanted to put in there about Cool Breeze, because I thought that was just such a great story, with so many people coming together helping. And I thought, man, this would be a match, because they're both bikers. Both of them held back for the same reasons, by the way.
Yeah.
As far as I believe, as far as I can tell at this point in time, which is why I tell you, get it fixed now. And so I'm writing this book, and I'm going to go ahead, just like a little paragraph, if it's cool with you guys. I'm going to tell you what happened here. Incredible. And you know what gets me too is, don't think, I was talking to a lady once, and I said, well, your dad's coming to me telling me this, and she said, my dad would never say that. And I said, honey, he's saying it now.
Don't
do that.
Don't do that, because I'll tell you, a new gift I got when my friend Rob died. I got it's called Claire Audio. I can hear him talking. I can hear him in my head, and I'm having a conversation with this guy. It's not like an old memory. It's, I'm like, holy shit, and it freaked me out. And I asked a couple people. He goes, "Oh, you got Claire Audio?" I'm like, "It's really freaky, because this is the first time I'm really experiencing." He goes, "Yeah, it gets weird. I can have conversations with people that are dead now. They're not. Let me tell you something. When someone passes away, you can still talk to them. It's the weirdest thing, but it's the truth, and you will get answers for them. But like Cisco, you just said, my father would never have said that. No, they may not have said it to you at the time, but you have no idea where they are on the level of where they've gone.
So true, please, yes.
Yeah, so I'll let you just continue on.
Oh gosh, that is so true, because what you just did when you did that, it's like he would never say that. You know, you got the wrong person or whatever. Listen to the words, listen to the feeling that's coming through, and if you would open yourself, just your mind, and allow that to come in and go with the first feeling you get when you hear it. Like Bryan started in the beginning, he talked himself out of it. Like, am I getting this? I need to be validated here. And that happens with so many mediums and psychics and people with abilities. You know, we want to know we're on that, because when you do that, your energy's connecting in with theirs and you're flowing back and forth. And now it's coming stronger because everybody's accepting it. We're not blocking it. One negative person in a room of people trying to do a seance can block it.
Oh, yeah.
Or an investigation, or on an investigation like, Bryan goes on, whether it be UFOs or cryptids or anything else, it's the same deal. I mean, there's so many things that get involved here, right? But the main point is, don't do that, because I told the lady who said that to me, I said, honey, he couldn't say it to you in life, but he's saying it now. He needs to, and he needs you to hear it. He needs you to hear it. And she stopped, and she kind of let it in a little bit, but as she walked away, she talked herself out of it again. And I think that's what goes on with a lot of things like that. Like, again, signs and everything else. So talk yourself out of it. Go with the first feeling you get, right? So when I was sitting down writing this, and again, the reason I added the extra chapters in it is because when I put up the ebook, we had issues. I had to pull it out. We had put in the wrong chapters. This is an ugly story. So we did printing. I wanted to give people a little extra for going through that. So we wrote in a couple of extra chapters here, and I talked to Steve about it, and he was cool with sharing the story of Cool Breeze, because for him, that was extremely personal and painful, because he had to see this guy decomposing, and he didn't understand. I mean, for hours and hours and days, we're looking for this motorcycle, and he's like, he's running out of time. I don't know what to do. I mean, it was big time. And I thought, should I put this in about our other biker here? So I asked, Bryan for permission to tell his part of the story. And I kind of asked Danny for permission. I asked my son. And I said, it could help so many people. Let me do it. I feel good about this. Let me do it. And I wasn't getting an answer back. And I said, okay, well, I'm just going to sit down and see what happens and start to write. And this is what happened. A Tale of Two Bikers. As I sit to write this story to you on a beautiful Sunday morning, the birds are singing just outside the open window. A slight fall breeze plays in the leaves of the poplar tree, just in view. Its leaves just surrendering to the colors it will take on as autumn turns into the crisp reds and burgundies I have learned to look forward to. A perfect time of day to light a few candles, an incense stick or two, and to meditate on how to convey the next two stories to you. Dear reader, I settled on the method of just tell it as it happened, and set to typing. Comfortable with the title to this chapter, I typed it in, The Tale of Two Bikers, and then sat back to take a long sip of my black coffee and think of how to start. Then this happened. Oh God, I got chills all over my body. I swear. Then this happened. The serene sounds coming through the window took on a louder occupant. No doubt by the sound of a Harley Davidson that was coming down the quiet little street just past my house. As it reached closer, I could hear the biker had a stereo playing as he rode. The music was familiar, somehow, and I closed my eyes and I listened as it gained and faded as he passed. The tune had just started, it seemed to just start, and was coming to the first line of the lyrics to the song, Into the Mystic by Van Morrison. The words as he passed, we were born before the wind, also younger than the sun. And the next lines trailed with him as he rode up the street onto the awaiting highway. Ere the bonny boat was won, no longer clear on the wind, that Harley left behind, I finished the line for Van and sang the next part out loud as we sail into the mystic. What you don't know about that song, it wasn't just a Harley Davidson going by my window. I know the guy, he lives in the neighborhood, but barely on a Sunday morning. And he's always playing music. But this time he happened to be playing a song that Danny used to sing to me all the time. And he said, "Baby, I want to rock your gypsy soul." And since then, I've always worn that. It says Gypsy Soul to remember him. That was Danny's way of telling me, write it, baby. I don't believe in this bullshit, but go ahead and write it anyway.
Yep. He's going through the process. He's really, you know what? He's one of those grade A students up there.
Yeah.
He's really flying through, but he's so determined to change his, and correct things. That's why where he's going. He's doing a lot of good. He's going to be doing more good.
He's going to be a great teacher. He's going to be a great teacher. And see, this is what it is.
Yep.
When you go and you do that, you don't just stop. We're yeah, I know, Lindsay, right? I barely got through it, and I'm a tough old bitch. But I mean, it's so when you connect with that. I mean, I'm sitting there at this window and I hear the song and I'm like, what is that? I know that song. And I'm just sitting there holding my coffee thinking about how to start this. How do you start this story, And try to respect everybody involved. But if you keep it back, nobody will hear it. That's why it's in the book. So if you haven't read the book, there's stories like that in there and you can read the rest. And
it's an important story and it's an important book. I mean, I'm waiting to meet both Steve. I can meet you, whatever, and get that your John Hancock's on it.
Absolutely.
And you know what? It's an important story, and you are supposed to teach. You're a teacher. You're a healer. You're so much, and you were supposed to make this path. You were supposed to do this, even though it was extremely hard on you as for living in the connections. You needed to put this out there, just like Steve needed to have his experience, and he puts these things out there. Steve's medium is books, and he's freaking out of control, even though he looks like Greg Allman. He's, but you need to do this, and then you need to do this show, your podcast, and everything about you. It's part of your plan. We need this. Everybody that's in this chat needs this right now.
And people who will hear it later. Thank you so much, Lindsay. I never get tired of hearing that somebody read the book and got something from it. I mean, and I tried so hard to make it so you're there, you're feeling it, and that was my main goal. Because if you had an experience, I wanted you to be able to match it up. But there's so many in there of so many different kinds, where things just happen to you or are going to happen, you and somebody else. And why are we going through this? Why do you have that boss at work that's just, that thing, or that cousin that won't stop calling you and complaining all the time, and you try to get through it, and you let them do it instead of telling them, look, honey, you got to find a way to move through this. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's the actual definition of crazy if you're expecting something different to happen. But some people, you have to understand, just like to wallow in that. You can't always pull them out because they're going to jump back in. So stop. Love them. Tell them you love them, but find a way to cut that off so it doesn't drain you. But it's that relationship is there for a reason, and it's how you deal with it. You can't control other people and what they do to you, only how you react to it and what your next move is.
People are given opportunity after opportunity in so many different ways. They don't realize it's an opportunity. Like, you recover from something, it's an opportunity. You experience something, then you have to recover. Opportunity. You're being told things. And then you get the stubborn people that just don't get it. And they're stuck in that ether and they're never crossing over. And it's crazy, right?
There's so many that it's movie Soul.
Yep.
I think that movie did so good. And gosh, if I could play it for you, we'd watch it together. But of course, there's a
Oh,
little
you get shut
copyright
down.
thing.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Mickey Mouse with AK-47s would be, they'd swat me. Disney
All right.
they would swat me before they got to past the little castle with the Tinkerbell on it.
Exactly.
But Soul is so well put together, and it's all about finding your soul, finding your purpose, and finding your spark. And everybody's like, well, maybe I should this and this and this and this, and it's like it's so different from what you think,
Right.
And it's just amazing. So basically, the main thing here is, these are two stories in the book. Brian's got wonderful stories on his podcast, and all the times that he goes on and he's telling all the stories. Of course, a lot of people want to talk about Dogman and Cryptid, and he doesn't. But there's more feeling to it. It's about, why did you get involved in this stuff in the first place? What drew you? What attracted you? And why? It's something in here that drew you to find out these answers and intrigued you about crystals and everything else. It's right there. It's right there. I think it's a longing for that connection too. That energy. We're drawn to energies.
Right. So something that's very important, and you have to understand thing, and it seems like a lot of people in chatter get it. They're at a certain level.
Oh, these are exceptional people.
I don't like people doing guided meditation for me. Never been like that. I hate it. I do
Just
my own
doesn't work
thing.
for you.
No, it doesn't work for me.
Right.
Some people you need it. People like it. I don't. I've actually done guided meditation for people doing an AIE, an active intelligent account, where we had Kraft come in, because some people need that guidance. But here's the thing: try it little by little. When you start changing the way you think, act, and do, you're changing your vibration. And when you vibrate at different frequencies and levels,
yes,
all these other little things fall off and are garbage. It doesn't mean anything. And the way to explain it is, I think everybody should meditate or try to meditate 5 minutes. Seriously, 5 minutes. I mean, I'll do a breathing thing. You just close your eyes for 5 minutes, breathe
try
in and out,
Lamaze,
and you blow it out in through the nostrils, out, right?
Remember that,
It's
ladies?
Yeah. I remember
That's a
all
little
that
too much,
stuff.
but
Yeah.
that's a little too much. But breathe in and out. And I tell people, if
Right.
it helps you to
5
add in
minutes.
your senses, like lavender oil, the Florida water.
That stuff's great.
Yeah.
Florida water? No, I have some
Yeah,
of that.
you're going to be getting some of that. But, all those things, what works for you? Some people say, they have better luck with fire gazing. So light a white candle or a light colored candle, because
5 minutes.
you're drawing that energy, and stare into the flame and stop saying to yourself, I can't stop thinking. I can't stop thinking. Dalai Lama can't stop thinking.
Shut your phone.
Yeah,
Put
yeah.
your phone onto do not disturb or airplane mode, so you're not going to get a message. And then set your time. Say, give me a timer, 5 minutes. I prefer 6. I like the number better, but that's a different story. And just sit there and focus on the flame. Just focus.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll start focusing enough where
That's
you
fine,
won't
Glenn.
need the flame. You'll start doing what you need to do. And then what happens is your vibrations change. And all the little things that used to piss you off, that you thought were important, no more longer important.
Right.
It's okay if you fall asleep, Glenn.
It is okay.
Seriously.
And other people do it with creating. They're making pottery. They're doing jewelry. They're working on an old 1965
Music for me.
Mustang with the hearse on the floor and
Yeah, no,
Crow
I have
Traeger
a-
mags and
just-
that kind. Or anything. It's creativity.
You want to actually use, with creativity, you're using both sides of your brain, by the way. If
It's
you're
beautiful.
men, you're using both sides. That's why women
Right.
use both sides. Men
Right.
just usually one.
Some people
and,
crochet and get meditation. And
Right.
so if you're doing a craft and you feel better, like I actually, to sleep, to try to get things connected, my mind wouldn't shut off. I had to watch, I know this sounds crazy, but I had to do it for a couple of years. To go to sleep, I had to watch something like I was familiar with. I kind of knew the story, like a repeat on History Channel or something. Who knows?
Right.
Alcatraz, whatever. Chick flick. And I have to watch that, turn the sound off, put headphones on, and listen to a CBS mystery at the same time. Watch theirs and read their lips and listen to the story to shut my mind down enough to relax.
Right.
I mean, I found my groove. It worked for me. And then sometimes it's, working. I have to have something on that's controlling this part of me, like watching a video or listening to a podcast while I'm making jewelry or candles or soap or whatever I'm doing. And I produce better and I'm in a groove. You
Yeah.
guys know where your groove is. It might be in, flowers or whatever. It could be driving a truck, and a lot of people like to drive. I find it irritating, but I like driving trucks on highways and stuff.
Yep.
Open stuff.
Everybody has a phone, by the way, and with your phone, there's a ton of free apps. They're called binaural beats,
Oh,
and
good.
you
They're
can
good.
put. I live for them, and they're ones that'll help you do outer body experience and astral projection. But there's also ones that help you to meditate. They work. And someone was mentioning frequencies. I think Corey Cole or whatever was in the chat.
Yep.
Sorry.
The Tibetan prayer bowls. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those
And
help too.
And just that little frequency thing that we were doing, where we just had a visual where you're just looking at, you're like almost going through a tunnel or going, through a wormhole or something, and you're listening to that frequency music. That might be enough. I used to, when I was working, I was doing customer service manager. Oh my gosh, the people. Oh, it's beautiful. And, I have to go in the bathroom, shut the door, stick my headphones in for a minute, and listen to a little bit of this stuff just to get back. Do it if you have to.
I'm using
Beautiful.
an app called Bowls. I'm going to put it up there so you can see it.
Beautiful.
And we use this on every investigation. If we don't have a Tibetan singing bowl, there's multiple different, what do you call it? Multiple different bowls on this. It's about 5 or 6 of them, and it's a Tibetan singing bowl. And now you can record it, which is good. And I believe it's free. If it's not free, then it's like 99 cents or $1. It is awesome to have, and that will get you into the mood. And the reason why you need to use these things is because as you meditate, you're going to open your third eye, and you're going to raise your vibration. So now you're going to be here. So the stuff the greatest example is when you were in kindergarten, it was really serious and important, and all this stuff was good. But by the time you got to middle school, all that kindergarten stuff was crap. It's meaningless. And then you get to high school, and it's meaningless. You're taking math or multiple. This is what happens when you vibrate. And then what happens is that's why the great masters like Buddha and Jesus and even Muhammad and some of the other masters around there, just to mention a few.
Confucius.
There's so many Krishna and so on and
Bruce
so
Lee.
forth. Yeah. And,
so many.
the little stuff doesn't bother them. The crap that they're going right now, this stuff with the division is like, you guys, it's a joke. What the hell are you doing? They don't let this bother them because they know it's more important as you go higher. And as you go higher, you open up you get to connect to that, everybody's saying source. So I'll use source. So now we're connected to source, and then you're like, oh, okay. Little, things don't bother me as much anymore. And I get to use this for, I call it remote viewing or seeing things. A lot of people were talking about, I think it was, who was it, said they fall asleep.
Glenn.
Oh, Glenn,
And
I can
that's
tell you
fine.
this. This was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. When I sleep, there's two things. You can have a dream where you kind of remember the details, and then you have something called experiences. They're two separate sides of that because your body's at rest. I have a lot of experiences, so much so that when I wake up, I'm exhausted because I'm actually there at different locations doing things. And other people have come in. Sometimes we have a friend named Arizona Tramp that had a show, and this is what, with a light worker thing where he's telling me, you got to press this button, you got to do this. And I'm like, I got it. Cut it out. I got it. We were doing something to help people go from a dark place to the light, not like in death, but to a good side. So you'll get a lot of these things where you start moving into the sleep mode, and in sleep mode, you'll remember things. And about 4 weeks ago, I literally saw a high-speed train crash. I saw the crash. And the first thing I did when I woke up in that morning is, it was like a Thursday or something like that. I wrote, there's going to be a high-speed Amtrak crash, in the next 24 hours. And lo and behold, this was like the next morning, there was a huge train crash out of Pennsylvania. And someone, one of another investigator, Andy McGrath, he goes, didn't you just call this? And I said, yep, I did. Wasn't happy about it because people got hurt. He goes, I'd say you're pretty spot on. I'm like, yeah, that happens. Just like there's things that I'm getting now, and I'm keeping them very close to the vest, but I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to curse when I say this, shit's going to hit the fans really soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And but it needs to be done for people to open their eyes and their minds and get out of this.
Yep. And so
Svengali.
many people, I think, so many people, I think, are seeing that with that consciousness raising. And then again, you have to understand that the people that aren't seeing it, their consciousness is raised. It doesn't matter how much you beat them over the head, that relative or anything else. Just let it be. Let them walk through what they can, send loving things, whatever you feel you need to do, whatever. But it doesn't matter. Your consciousness is here, theirs is there. They have to work through it. You can be there when they get there and they have questions, but you go with your gut and you go with, you're grounded. Your square foot of real estate, you have to take care of that wherever you are right now. You take care of yourself and you make sure you're good and strong and you're doing things to help you, like Bryan said, as far as keeping your light, keep those big fat candles burning, right?
Yep.
People are going to try to put them out, but you just light them again, or don't let them put it out. If somebody is draining you, stay away from them. The world is going to, and if you're on social media,
Even if you're married to them,
and it's draining you, better or worse. So, even if social media, stay off it. Because it's energy and it's coming at you and you're allowing it in because you're accepting that energy. So lock it down. Go put on a Pink Floyd album. Go, right, Blue? Or go listen to music that lifts your vibration. We've said this ad nauseum about how easy it is. People make it hard. And the minute you start saying, I can't do this or I can't, meditate in the shower, guys. Again, think of that. Close your eyes, put it on warm, have it hit your face. You need that stimulation. We all need this, all this physical. Some people need it audible. Some people need to, everything. All your senses at once. So get in the shower and imagine it's a golden light. It's going through and pulling out all the negativity, and all the negativity is going down the drain. And
shower's a great healer. Yep.
And you just stand there until all that, but you have to be taking in good and releasing bad, and visually focus on that, and use as long as you need.
Concentrate on that sound.
Yeah.
It after every, I don't know if I just lost the connection or.
Oh no, you're good. You're still good.
You're good.
Okay.
You're good, honey.
It got really, really quiet, so I don't know what was going on. After every investigation I ever do, no matter if it's UFO, Bigfoot, research, paranormal, like ghosting, I end the evening by putting all my clothes. I literally get in my house, and it's buck naked, put it in a bag, tie it up for cleaning tomorrow, and I jump in the shower. And I clean my whole entire body with water, because water is a cleaner. It's been a cleaner since the beginning of time, and it gets rid of the negative. Yep, and it puts back the positive. Yeah.
And be kind. It's for this reason, because you're opening up. It's like, even when you're in the shower and you're hurrying up, like before work, or get ready to have that little routine. There's something about getting in there and it's just you and that water and that soap. Why do you think soap that smells good?
One-on-one personal time.
Guys, I'm going to be right back. My dog just knocked over my garbage can. I've got
Go
a
ahead.
situation.
Take all the time you need, sweetheart.
All right, I'll be right back. Thanks a lot, Toby.
So he's just being a dog,
possessed.
Man. He's just being a dog.
He was being possessed.
I mean, well, I have that thing too. It's like, we want to get involved with nature, but dogs are going to be dogs. People that try to make dogs not be dogs, It's like I've got somebody that I know that's like that. He says, puppies aren't supposed to run, so we're not going to let him run. It's not good for him. I'm like, what? I mean, it's like
there's training, and then there's You know, like
forcing things round
Yeah.
peg square,
yeah. It's kind
square
of like having
peg,
two
round-
dogs. No kids. That one's for company.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
Yeah, it's like saying I love this forest. I'll love it even more when I cut all the trees down and kill all the. It's like I don't understand. Of course you don't let things run amok and you don't let kids run amok, but there is a certain aspect of we have to go through these
Yeah.
layers. We have to go through these steps. We have to. Look what happens to little kids that are born with the memory of being reincarnated and stuff. What do they have to do? When it seems like most of them that had parents that listened, at least one parent that helped them out and didn't shut them down.
Right.
And then you get through to the point even less that actually try to do something about it and do the right thing. The things that worked for them was when they didn't cut off the other life, they said goodbye to that one and knew it was always going to be a part of them and put this life forward. And it worked. The pain stopped, the headaches or the visions or the dreams when they came to grips with it, something that simple.
Right.
And I think we really try to make everything more difficult. I used to go through that and say, I can't meditate. I know there's things I'm not supposed to do. I've been told, until I get to a certain point. Don't do this. That's not for you yet. Okay.
Yeah. I call it meditation, but it's more like just breathe. You need, you know what? Life is so hectic and crazy for everybody. Everybody's struggling for everything. You just need to stop for freaking one moment and just go.
Yeah.
And that act of is worth its weight in gold. I'm not saying, I'm not a big meditator. I try to get into a zone and I try to focus on a spot when I need to remote view. Sometimes I can do stuff. It just comes.
Yeah.
Other times I have to sit there for a minute. Like I did a reading for somebody, and I literally had to take some time prior to the reading to kind of like get into, I guess, the mode that I need. It happens sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't happen. A lot of times, and again, I'm not a busybody. I don't want to know your business. It's none of my business. My business is none of your business. Your business is none of my business. That's how I've always been. So I don't read people in general, but the problem I have is I have this thing sometimes that when people start talking and you're having a conversation back and forth, and they start telling you, the other day I was down at the mountain and I did that, and all of a sudden I'm seeing it all take place in front of me because I don't necessarily just hear it. I see everything that they're talking about. I know exactly who is there, and I freaked people out. I'm like, who's the guy with the beard? And like, we never mentioned the guy with the beard, but that guy is so and so. How'd you know about that guy? And I'm like, oh, forget it.
Yep.
And it's not that I'm peeking into it; just happens. It's kind of like an innate. I have to, I guess. There's been a ways for me to shut down stuff. Just say, look. Case in point, I was coming back a couple weeks ago from down here back to New York. They put me in room 209 or 207, one of the two, at this Hilton property. I was exhausted. And I'm lying there, and it's very late. I pulled in about 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. By the time I got to bed, it was about, it was roughly, got to bed about 2:30, and all of a sudden I hear a boom, a knock. And it's not the knock from the door it's a knock to the right of the bed. And I'm like, I just ignored it and went, and then I got a bigger boom, boom.
Oh, geez.
And then all of a sudden I hear, open, close, which sounds like a refrigerator. I was so tired, I turned over because they were trying to get my attention. And I said, I don't give a fuck what you are. Get the fuck out of my room. I am exhausted. I'm not playing this game right now. And then it just stopped. It stopped dead. And I knew that whatever it was disappointing.
Sorry, have a good night. Be kind. We love you, honey. You're gonna do fine. Don't accept
take care of yourself.
Don't accept any shit from anybody.
Yep.
You are in control of you.
Yes.
And your aura and what you let in and what you don't. So rebuke it. You know what I'm saying? Just, you could get on that phone. She's got to get on with the family conference call. You could get on that phone. I say, I love you all. Have a nice day, and hang up, and it'd be just absolutely fine.
Yep.
You
I
don't
hope
have
it all
to
goes
please
well
everybody.
for you, though.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
You don't have to please everybody. I've got so many people mad at me right now. The only people that love me are in this chat.
you got to please yourself first. And let me tell you
Oh, I
something.
pissed off so many people around me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've been
Gotta be
called
true to
the
you,
you know
man.
the a-hole many times, and it's just I'm not intentionally doing it. I'm tired, and I don't want to deal with your crap.
Yeah,
And I got
yeah.
to do for me before I do for you.
Well, I
So
think it too comes from, it comes from age too. I mean, we all wonder, how that old man got so grumpy. We've all heard the stories, it's like, well, why? Yeah, I understand, be kind. Well, I mean, and please don't take this wrong, but we all eat a little shit.
yeah,
It's like you go to work and you have to think to yourself, it's like, I have experience. I'm worth more than this an hour. I have more. But if you do that, you're just dragging yourself down. Flip it around and say, they're not using me, I'm using them. I'm getting a paycheck and I'm able to do this, 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 and make it work in my life right now. Everything is temporary. You see what I'm saying? Everything is temporary.
yeah.
Well, this is temporary right now. Tomorrow will be different. Make the best of now. I think right now this world wants us angry and scared.
Yep.
I refuse to be. I'm always angry. I idle at a 95. Ask anybody that knows me. As sweet as I am, And,
Yeah, I don't want to piss you off ever.
yeah. Ooh. I mean, and I don't want to do that, but it's just like Bryan just said. We're way past is there other life. We are way past, is the government lying to us? We are way past worrying about, this big house we had to have with these people and showing off and all this other stuff. We are way past that. We are back to surviving and helping and community and tribe and like-minded and friends, and that may not be your blood family. Half of you people already know this in this chat because you've lived your life and you've found that out the hard way. I'm just going to go off. How many people in here are the people that can go off and just you stayed you, no matter how much they told you they didn't like the clothes you picked or the people you hung out with or anything like that? We're survivors.
You can ask the message on the clothing. So I wear what I want to wear, and whatever. It's just whatever. But something that I have somebody who is a podcaster. He got himself involved in some fighting here and there. Great guy, great young guy. And about 2 months ago, he's having major problems. He was very scared, nervous, upset, and depressed about what was going on in the world, about a country that's very corrupt and another country that's very powerful, whatever. That they're trying to force you to watch and pay attention to.
Don't.
So much so that he was thinking about killing himself. And I said, don't do that. I said, look, whether you believe it or not, God is working and doing his best right now to fight this evil. And it's a lot of evil that's going on.
There's a lot of black magic out there, kids.
Yes. And he's trying to make this
level.
a better place. But on top of that, something I've learned a long time ago is it's very difficult to deal with it even when you're going through all the shit, but you never know what tomorrow will bring, and tomorrow is another day. And I'm telling you, those two phrases are 100% true. You have no idea how close you are to being the person that hits that $5,000 quick pick, or the $1 million one, or you just interceded and helped someone save their life, or you just don't know. And it's tough at times to go through life, when you're being beaten down, and I've been through it for decades. But if you stay positive, it's going to work out in your favor, and you're going to look back going, I'm thankful that I took that moment to say, tomorrow's another day. I'm going to bed, and let me do this.
It really does come down to that simple little, that serenity prayer. God grant me the wisdom to accept the things I can't change, to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Therein lies the rub. The wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
So if you're in there constantly jumping in the hole with cousin Franny, who you know, I call people that you constantly try to help. It's like, you know, it's your fault if you keep going in there. We had to learn that. Ask any Native American that tries to live that way of life. Ask them how much persecution, how much misunderstood. There is a great new show out. I don't normally recommend. I think the last one I did was 1883. Very well done. And this one I just started watching. It's called Dark Winds. It's got everything in it. Chris, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's really good. I love it. And it's done with on a 27,000 acre reservation in Navajo. Okay.
Wow. They got into the Navajo River?
Yeah. And
Okay.
it's so well done. I think Robert Redford does it, who's always been, since The Man from Snowy River, he's always been very, you know,
He's got
Ryan,
a
I
huge
know
connection.
yeah, yeah, and it's very well done, and it has a lot to do with, it kind of gets into what Steve's doing with Sandy, and that whole red dress and the red hand of the missing Native Americans, and why, you know, the feds on one side and them on the other, and not being able to cross and all that craziness. But it's very well done. And the reason I like it is because it's really getting into the tradition of ceremony,
Right.
and ritual and tradition and community, and the people that stuck together, and how well the people that are stuck together are doing. And then you got the people all the way over there out in the middle of nowhere living by themselves, which they might very well be fine, but
Right.
that's us. Some people need that tight community, and everybody uses their strengths and helps everybody. And some people do fine out there and are just left alone, and they're fine, and they're faring on their own, and you know, they just want to communicate when they want to communicate, when they want to socialize, and that's fine too. Don't let anybody tell you what you have to be. You know, and a lot of misery. You've all heard misery loves company. Well, the miserable people are going to try to drag you down there with them. You know. So, like Be Kind said, you know, she needs something. The
She needs help.
connection. She needs help. She needs a connection. That's great. You're gonna compromise a little to get that, and that's fine. And they're gonna have to compromise a little bit. Yada yada. It's a give and take, but you have to decide how much you're willing to move. Sometimes we got to bend. You know, they say be a willow and learn to bend. Well, I learned to be a willow and learn to bend, but it created oak roots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what? Speaking of Native Americans, I don't know if you guys remember Robbie Robertson from the band.
Yes.
He's amazing. He's got a couple albums, but I highly recommend his music for Native Americans, and it is just a fantastic album to listen to, because it goes through it. They talk about this one song called the Ghost Dance, and if you understand what the Ghost Dance was, that you know
Oh gosh.
that was a huge tradition. There's Wounded Knee related to that. It's real, but it's really spiritual, and it actually may help you get into a
good
mood
song.
because of the drumming. Yeah, it's really
Toby.
a great album. Yeah.
We have Puppy. Toby. He's
Yeah,
so cute.
well,
that
my
little
wife
sweet
doesn't realize
thing.
it, but there
Just-
will be a puppy eventually.
Yes, I'm so happy
Yeah.
for you. Do it.
Yep.
But look how sweet he is and innocent. He doesn't look like somebody who just dumped over the garbage. Look at him.
There's a
He's
bull
just being
terrier
a
in my
dog.
future.
He's just
Yes.
being a dog, you
Yeah.
know. And sometimes if you, like I said, if you kind of work with that, and I think that, you know, speaking to Native Americans, I'm certainly no spokesperson for them, but something I derive from that, and derived from, you know, my grandmother and my great-grandmother and my mother, is basically, you're not supposed to go into nature and change it. You're supposed to be one with nature.
Yep.
It's a flow. And it is very much like Avatar. And there is going to be reaction when it comes to nature. I mean, if you don't think it perks you up when you have a little chipmunk come up to you and trust you, take a peanut out of your hand, you know, or petting a dog. Look at this adorable baby. Or, you know, our cats and our pets at home, whether it be a goldfish or turtle, whatever. There's a connection there. There's a trust and an understanding. And if you can have all of that in the woods, whether we're talking about Bigfoot or not, same thing with Bigfoot in the book. You know how many times I call Brian? This is my friend who I can call up in the wee hours of the morning and say, okay, crazy question. Okay, go what? In a fight with a dogman and a Bigfoot. Who's going to win and who's going to take it down?
It's happened before many times, and 99% of the time it's Bigfoot, unless it's a smaller Bigfoot to a larger dogman.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
the dogman stuff in this book. There's my reference right there.
Yeah.
And like I said, most of the crazy stuff, not this book, I'm sorry, Cabin 22.
Cabin 22.
Cabin 22. And like we said, Steve tells you all the time, all the crazy stuff in there actually happened. You get to figure out which one it is. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you which one.
Yeah.
I like having that little smirk and smile when I hear certain things.
Yeah, exactly.
And so does Steve. Steve likes one of my stories. He goes, "Oh, I got a lot of mileage out of it."
Yeah, he did get a lot of mileage. God love him.
Al still hates me for it.
Yeah,
but
it is in that book. It does explain about in Cabin 22 about the difference in the Bigfoots and and the way you balance with nature, and the people that lived there had that balance. And something came in and messed it up. And that's the whole premise of the story. And people coming together with their different characteristics and their different abilities, and they followed their intuition and all showed up in one spot for this one big thing. What do you think is happening now?
Yep.
We're all showing up for one big thing, to carry the light. We're drawn to the light. We're drawn to each other. And this is drawing other people, in, and, people that listen down the line and think you're not alone, you're not crazy, but you can only do what you can do, but understand this wonderful world that we're talking about, where Bryan can go in and help a human being that was having a hard time, to cross over, or whether you're a paranormal investigator and you're trying to figure out and unravel what's going on in a house and trying to help, even having a conversation with the ghost. We take it a little deeper than a lot of these, shows, like Bryan was saying earlier. Listen, man, you can get all the EVPs you want. People have been getting EVPs for a long time. What's going on in the house? Who's giving you the EP? Did it come with you? And again, ghosts were people too. They're going to be like people are. I can go into the Walmart right now and see 100 different kinds of people.
Oh my God. You have no idea.
Yes, I do. Donny, what did you want to say, honey? Go ahead.
Well, Toby has now taken less interest in me and more interest in his private area. So that's why he's disappeared.
He disappeared.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to say... So shall we move to... Sure.
You tell it. Bryan, are you ready? Did you have a chance to look?
Ready for this?
Oh, I already I can tell you exactly what took place there.
Okay. Go ahead, Donny. You open it up.
Let's just tell the chat. Now we're going to go into the topic we've been doing for the last 3 weeks. 2 weeks. This is the third week. Yes.
It just seems longer.
Yeah.
Because we had that break in there.
So we're talking about the case, the MacDonald case, and Cisco asked Bryan to remote view what happened.
Oh yeah.
So he's going to look there and tell us what happened, and then I guess we'll just everyone in the chat should already be familiar with the events of the case. Well, most of you. I think there's some new people tonight, but
right. Well, basically the breakdown of it was Fort Bragg. There was a horrible incident in 1970 in the month of November, and I don't want to say too much right now, but you guys know what we're talking about, because when I told Bryan about this, I asked him about 2 weeks ago. Of course, he's got so much going on. I said, I don't want to ask you too much, and I didn't want to tell you too much. Now, were you familiar at all when I mentioned the case about it?
Not at all. It was. I was too young for this case to know what the heck was going on with it. So that being said,
I gave him an address.
Gave me an address.
That's it.
And I know it was Fort Bragg. And that was it. And I had my own experience at Fort Bragg, or in Fayetteville, or what they call it these days, Vietnam. And so I went in there, and before doing anything, not even researching a thing, I just saw a picture of the guy, MacDonald, and I started going into it, and I could tell you that. So what took place there was, there's a connection to what took place in this case to what was taking place with Manson, and what took place with the Son of Sam and the satanic group that connects both of them. Okay, there are military connections to said satanic group, and I just did a brief overview of what's going on, so I didn't really focus, because I did this prior to this show starting. On top of that, so MacDonald grew up in a really, household where his father was disciplinarian.
We talk about that in his bio.
He was very, very strict, and MacDonald liked certain things strict. And he was a decent guy. He's a decent human being. He had a relationship with this woman. She was pregnant. They were about to have their fourth child. And there was some tension there, because that marriage was based on the fact that you take care of the kids, and I will earn the money and be the financial support. And when she went back she was going back for a career purpose. He kind of got ticked off at that point. But in general, if you would have met these people, you would have been like, they're great. They're fantastic. And it was a pretty good family. And it's really funny, because I still believe that there's some kind of connection to the children, his children, whether the people that committed this, the individuals involved in this, knew about the kids or were, and I'll explain it a little bit further down. There's a connection there. But so not that long before this murder took place, there was a little tension there, because I think that was the beginning of the women's lib movement, and the wife wanted more like education and what have you, because she stopped with education. That's what I was getting. She wanted more.
Look at that, Donnie.
Yeah. So, and that was kind of through a tension there, but there was love and happiness in that family, believe it or not. And this is my take of what took place. I can't explain how. There was a van. It drove a female, and I'm going to say 4 males. There was a fourth. One was black. One was Hispanic or Latino. One looked a little bit more, I'm going to say Italian-esque, and the other one was your average white guy. But this goes back to hippies, that their hair was disheveled. Some of those people were in, and there was a woman there. There was a female, but she had a thing for one of the persons that were in the van that went to this place. She was heavily hooked on. She was addicted to something besides the guy, and they were supposed to hook up or something to that effect. People in this van. There was a van. It was driven to the base or outside the base, and the reason they went to this base, I think there is a connection that was involved, that was in the base as a military person.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, the thing I'm getting in my brain is, I think there's a colonel there on that base, or somebody,
Colonel.
And I think there's a connection to whoever was modeled after the Apocalypse Now colonel, which was played by Marlon Brando.
Okay.
There's a connection there, and I think they snuck into the base, and the reason why they went to that person's house, these people, the MacDonalds, was the woman was seen before, and they marked her for death because she was carrying a baby, and they didn't talk about she was carrying a baby. They were involved in some kind of satanic stuff, and the ultimate prize in anything satanic is to not just kill somebody, but to take the life of an unborn child.
Yes.
And I don't believe Mr. MacDonald is responsible for any one of those crimes that took place in his house.
Wow.
He was attacked. They came in through a back. They came in through the back very easily. He was passed out. They went up and they realized they knew he was, if he's in the army, he knows his shit, and they didn't want to mess with him just yet. They got to his wife. They got the kids first.
Oh, geez.
Then they got to the wife, and then that's when he woke up because they weren't all dead. It was when they got hit and stabbed, they were still alive and they were in agony, and that's the screaming. Although I'm really surprised no one heard it. I don't know how that happened. And he responded. He confronted one of them. He saw some woman there. Confronted one of those guys. What are you doing? There was a wrestling, and then he got hit twice from behind, and then he got stabbed. And they bugged out because they figured he's going to fight back, and so they jetted from there. And he went up to check on his family, and that's why I found out later after this. He was checking on them because he's a doctor and he was trying to help them, and there was no way to help him, and his lung was pierced, and he ended by being on top of his wife. Yeah,
wow.
These people were connected to the same group of individuals that are responsible for the Manson murders and also responsible for the Son of Sam. There is a connection to that group. There's a satanic group.
That Son of Sam thing is very satanic. So
Yeah.
this is blowing me away. Like I said, guys, we didn't talk about this. When I tell you that I
didn't
gave
know
him an
anything about
address and he didn't know, that was it. Now,
Yeah.
you know how I feel about this. I'm going on evidence, what I can see. And there was no evidence of anybody else being in that house but him. We all went over all the blood stuff and everything else. I mean, Brian's probably the only one that can make me go, okay, shit, I got to look more into this, because here's this guy all this time in prison saying basically the same thing Brian just told us.
Yep.
So how in the world? And that's why I did it like this. Again, this was the brainstorm of Donny. Donny wanted to bring in a little bit of the supernatural paranormal abilities and things.
So
to check on this. Are they still stuck in that house, Brian? Are you getting anything?
No, they're
they
not.
crossed over the mother and the children.
Everybody's gone. They're good. They're taken care of.
Okay.
They're fine.
What in the world?
This guy, you know, I'm not saying he's the nicest guy on the planet, but I don't think he was a bad guy. And he drew the shitty straw. The people involved in the military base are hiding. Well, I don't know if they're hiding it, but they didn't want information to get out. Something, you know, about investigations, like the military always, well, we have the best investigations. We're good. You know,
I think it was AJ and Glenn. Was it AJ and Glenn that was telling me that you guys were hearing something about? He knew about the drugs coming back in the body bags in Vietnam or something along those lines, and somebody else said there was some satanic, and then Donny really checked on that and really settled on that too, didn't you, Donny?
Yep. Well,
there was, again, I'm just telling you how I see the people in the house, and I could see it's kind of really weird, but it's military, but it's like late 60s shaggy.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird, and it's dark, and it's not very visible. And he actually loved his family. He was strict. Don't get me wrong, you know, but you know, they weren't supposed to be there anymore. They were supposed to be moving on. But what's very odd is I got something saying a satanic connection, and something saying that he was also aware of something was going on that was not right.
Yeah.
Be it illegal or
that's basically
things that are overlooked.
That's basically what they were getting, and a lot of these, you know, like end of death confession stuff and things like from the FBI, people that were involved and all that. Because
Right.
you always got to wonder. And supposedly there's been like 44 murders
Oh,
very
that base,
similar to this on that base
that base. I'm telling
around
you,
that time.
I'm telling you, AJK said something about astral projection. No, there's no astral projection whatsoever that I'm getting. I'm not going to say it definitively. There's a lot of really bad shit happening on that base.
Yeah.
And there is a satanic connection, big time, on that base. And
Right.
I'm just telling you that there's something about Satanism and the practicing of ritual magic and whatever that's taking place. And I literally saw, when I get these certain images and the connections, it's like that colonel that was in Apocalypse Now was like sick.
Yeah, I
in
know
the
who you're talking about. That kind of
Somebody
Listen,
like-
this is the
yeah.
Vietnam era. You would not believe the dastardly deeds that were going on. I mean, I'm sure now, Aunt Edna, you remember so much of it. But this is the thing. A combination of this could be true. Now, I
Right.
don't know how Brian sees. I don't know if it's possible to have something talked about so much that it creates almost like a tulpa kind of thing. I don't know.
This is not a
something
Topa
different.
thing. This is what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I don't know how the evidence matches up. So that makes me think even more so now.
Do you see
that it
anyone
was
messing with the evidence?
Set that way. There you go. Good question, Donnie.
So what happened in this case is things went missing, and I don't know I didn't follow the trials or whatever, but things
Right.
went missing, and this guy got railroaded,
Wow.
and because it's military based, he got railroaded. On top of that, they wanted this guy. If they could have fried his ass, he would have been dead that way
Wow.
easily. But no one's going to believe him. Right off the bat, the motive was there's no motive. The guy, yeah, he was a tough guy, he grew up with the discipline and he may have
Right.
yelled and screamed.
And the
but-
overachiever and psychopathic tendencies
Well,
and
not-
stuff.
yeah,
he
he
really
wasn't-
did have those. There's no
Well,
doubt. He still
you know what?
does.
That's because his parents put it into him. You got to do good. You got to be the best. Whatever. He was like that, and he kind of tried to instill it in his kids, but his kids were kids. It's like me. My biggest gripe right now is my kids don't say please and thank you on a lot of things. Like you get something and there's a disrespect factor there that because they're my kids. But if they go to your house, they're gonna say please and thank you. It is what it is. But it was more roles. Like I'm the man, I do this. You're the woman, you do this.
Yeah,
they
that was
weren't.
definite
They
for
weren't
sure.
angry at each other. She just wanted to better her life, and it was that kind of movement. But the individuals responsible for the death of this family are literally not from the base. And
Wow.
It's,
she was seen. There's a lot in this, and
is there a van, like a white van, that was seen?
Donnie, anything in what you went through? Did you see?
Like
did you
some
pull up?
kind
I
of
didn't.
van that was like almost off. Or I don't know if it's a white,
Yeah.
black, white, or blue van. It's really
There was,
Yeah.
I found very little about any kind of transportation because the only times they were both spotted, they were both like on foot outside.
True. Yeah.
Like the group was like one time they got spotted, they were actually in a parking lot.
and
Yeah.
Well, I
don't
mean,
know.
there definitely was drug use going on right there.
Oh yeah.
But
oh,
it was.
Yeah.
This was.
Yeah.
This was.
Oh, Linda just read the book. So
Oh.
she's saying they
Oh, in the
mentioned
book
a
they
van
mentioned
down
the
the
van.
street. Linda, did they? Did they happen to
Yeah.
mention the color, honey? She read the book when we started, so she was keeping up with everything and giving us information that
There
might
was
have been in there.
Okay, so there was a guy in this van that was acting as a lookout driver.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, there's a satanic connection here, and it's a big coup if you kill an unborn child in that whole thing.
Oh, huge. And I think the whole
Yeah.
Sharon Tate thing too. Now I'll tell you something. I'm digging in on the other stuff. Now I'm gonna tell you guys. You guys saw me. I came out when we first did the evidence, and Donnie and I took kind of opposite sides, and he went and
Yeah.
investigated. Hadn't heard about it. He went and saw what he saw, his vantage point, and brought it, and I did mine. And I'm going on just evidence. Blue can tell you, but again, what's back and forth? And we've got 50 years of people just making stuff up and throwing stuff out there, and then people picking it up as fact. So we wanted to go back, we wanted to rip it apart and see. I think this is a brilliant idea Donny had to bring in this aspect of it. Now we're looking at it a whole nother light, because we were all so sure last week. If we were sitting on the jury, we'd have sent him up, right? With what we had to work with.
They didn't put the right amount of stuff there. They wanted him gone. So you would have sent them away. But it's really weird. I can see the guy. I can see the guy in the van, and he's wearing some kind of it's like a Levi's denim jacket that's brownish. He's very sweaty. His hair is just messy and dirty brown, and he has this big ass mustache, like a Cheech Martin mustache.
Was that one of them, Donny?
That was
Danny's
a guy.
all over this thing tonight.
That
I'm
was
telling
the
you.
guy waiting in the van, and I can he's freaking out, and he's like, "Come on, come on, come on!" He knew they were going to do this. He just wanted it over. Get in the van, get in the van, and then the other people were they really got off on killing this woman. They freaking got off big time.
They did the same thing to Sharon Tate.
But they were really scared about the husband, because they knew Green Berets were there. Mm-hmm. And they know Green Berets don't mess around. Right. So they were, if they basically just got away from where he was. And I didn't look any further than what you said, and I was doing the address and I was watching it, and I think the doctor himself knew there was some really funky stuff going on between them doing things they're they're purposely turning a blind eye to.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think he knew about some of the people maybe with some kind of activity, satanic related, or I don't know. I mean, there were drugs definitely being used, but I didn't know about drug trafficking at that point. But this guy got railroaded.
Absolutely.
This guy got railroaded big time. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And like I said, I just gave him the address. So this was a great way to do this. Now, as we're looking back at that case, we can see how only having a certain amount of evidence can sway you and think. Like I said, I'm still, with the evidence and everything else, I got to have that explained to me, how that happened. Did they fix stuff? Is that why they were so long in there? The EMTs had to wait. What went on to do this? But it's not that hard to falsify a crime. It's not that hard to frame somebody. Look at the JFK situation. How many Oswald wallets did they find? How many A. Heidel wallets, which is one of his things? Because they had people out there framing. So I don't know.
So one of the persons that was involved in this that went actually into the house was really the semi-mastermind of it. The chick is the woman that was there in that house is really getting off on it, and the guy that it was a white guy or
her boyfriend.
No, there was I can't describe this guy, but he is connected to this. He's connected to the satanic group that's in the Midwest. I forgot where it is in the Midwest. It's not that far away from where they were, which is connected to the same cult that Manson was part of, as well as David Berkowitz. They were killing a ton of people throughout. They've been doing this for a while. Mm-hmm. This is a huge satanic operation, and it's in a lot of industries you would never believe.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Okay,
it's
even medical.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have people that are soldiers that are allowing. This is how they got on the base. They were kind of snuck in through. There's a. I don't know this base I don't know it at all. I've never been to the base, but at one point there was a part of the base that kind of was maybe under construction, and they easily got onto the base, and they were never going to be seen because it was a common street. It just wasn't going to happen.
Right, and like Linda's saying, no, we did the whole thing on Laurel Canyon and the MK Ultra, and even Timothy Leary with his LSD. Timothy Leary was CIA.
Yeah. There's
This
a
was
lot of
all
people.
go out and test it. We need live testing, and
Yep.
there goes the LSD and everything else, and this goes way back. I mean, there's even I'm digging again deeper and deeper and deeper, ever deeper into the JFK case, and I mean you've got witnesses that saw Lee Harvey Oswald in with this group doing LSD that stole it from the plant that was testing it. The Timothy Leary, I mean, it's just like, everything is connected, like he says, as far as that goes. And I do believe this is possible, even though 2 weeks ago I was going, he did it. I couldn't find any evidence that showed me he didn't. This is another way of looking into it, and this is the why military uses this.
This is it's really odd how you get, because you not only see things, but you get the emotions and the feelings of individuals involved.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
There was a little bit of tension in the family, don't get me wrong, but in general, they were very complacent with each other, and they enjoyed each other's company.
But you're spot on with her just starting school. She just started,
she wanted to better
child
herself.
Psychology, and he was cheating on her left and right. I mean, she could name.
I don't know about the cheating. I know that. I mean, I can't express it other than this guy did not have the fortitude to kill this woman.
Yep.
There was some moral background about him. I don't know about him cheating. I have no idea about that, but I know that he was happy with what he was happy with, and I think again, maybe the cheating stuff was more rumor than anything else. But I don't know.
He actually admitted to that.
Well,
they had the girls in there. It doesn't make him a killer. It just makes him a shitty, whatever.
It makes him, pretty much given an opportunity. I know people in the military that.
Oh gosh.
Given the opportunity, whatever was in
Absolutely.
Jim Morrison in the cult. No, I have no idea.
His daddy was the commander of in the Navy. I'm not going to get his title correct, but he was actually in charge of the ships that were involved in the false flag and the Tet Offensive.
Tet Offensive. Well, Jim Morrison was his own little island, and
they were all. Every single one of those people that were up in Laurel Canyon during that time had parents that were involved in the military intelligence or in some branch such as that. I believe that was all an experiment. I mean, we did a whole big thing on the Laurel Canyon thing. I don't know. But, like you said, Son of Sam, any of that, though, with the Satan. And Donny, I want to give you a chance because you really had a good theory there where the connections and stuff like that with the satanic stuff. And we weren't denying it. We were just basically saying, I mean, I'll tell you, if he had been here, I'd have pulled the lever myself. Now I got to go back and look at stuff and go, what did I miss? But again, we're on an old case where we only have what was available to the courts, what they wouldn't allow the courts and the jury to see, the evidence and everything else, as far as that goes. But that's why this is such an interesting thing, to go send somebody in to go and look into the situation. Donny, I mean...
Well, I knew for a fact that they were involved in the occult and Satanism and all that. I mean, she even said it herself.
Yeah.
And they were Satan. And they were like hopped up on heroin and mescaline, which is a fun combination, I guess.
Right.
And and a lot of people just dismissed what they were saying just because they were on drugs, but I know enough about drugs, and just because if you know a person was on drugs, it doesn't mean you have to dismiss everything they say. There's still going to be some little bit of truth, right?
I wonder if I still have that picture. They're asking me, what year was the Tet Offensive? Anybody know off the top of their head?
It was July 4th, 1968.
Right. I had a picture of little Jimmy Morrison with his Admiral Dad. Okay, here's oddly enough, does this look familiar to you at all?
just so you know, when you're taking mescaline, that's Jim Moore. That's what's his name.
No. This isn't Morrison. These are.
No.
This is what Donnie pulled up as far as the people that.
The boyfriend of the woman.
Yeah, the boyfriend, the people that he
This
described.
these are the police sketches.
No. Let me.
This guy right here.
That's the black guy. Yeah. See how I said Latino. This guy's is a Latino guy. There's I know there's a dark skinned black person.
Right.
There's a Latino guy. There's a guy that's kind of has it's a big bushy mustache like you would see in the West.
Okay.
And I don't know. I want to say he may be Latino or Italian.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And the girl looked like she's been, you know.
Oh, we got a picture of her. We got lots of pictures of her.
Yeah, I just have to pull the slides. Yeah, I have to pull the slides. I can probably
it's not a
find
problem.
them.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Donnie.
No, I was going to say one more thing, Donnie. When you're taking mescaline or you take a hallucinogenic, 99% of the time it's almost like truth serum. Shit just comes out. That's why. Yeah.
Wow. Let me see if I can find her. Hold on. We had a lot of slides.
I'm telling you, I don't believe this guy did anything like that.
That's
Incredible.
the one.
That's the one.
Yeah. Yeah. You see how she looks kind of like
bedraggled?
Yeah, she looks beat up. She looks like I've been doing drugs.
That's her like right before she died.
Yeah.
Like
30.
Her, like, you know, she's been hit in the face with a bag of nickels. Yeah. She's not in it. Yeah. Nope. She's
incredible.
She didn't go to the place where she thought she was going to go.
But see, this is also a perfect example of really.
Wait, where did she think she was going to go?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You know what? She really got hooked into this whole Satanism thing and giving herself to it. And even though she may have gotten older, she's going to be in for a rude. Well, she was in for a rude awakening when she got, after she passed, because she's going to get,
Yeah.
She's going to a pretty bad place.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. But also at the same time,
and she's not prepared.
The whole thing with the the helter skelter with the La Bianca and Folger killings. Everybody forgets about the Folgers and all of that stuff where someone early, I think Linda said it about Manson wasn't. Of course he wasn't. Again, an MK Ultra situation to try to get everybody, how far can we get this person to do these things? I'll tell you the truth. I think Jim Jones was too. And I think it's very possible because you start to see patterns of these things.
So,
yeah.
I'll tell you about MK Ultra. So, the kid that shot up the theater in Aurora.
Yeah.
And then there was one prior to that.
Yeah.
There was one prior to that in near Columbine or whatever, or it wasn't Columbine. I don't remember the two, but those two kids' fathers know each other, and they may work for the same company, which I believe is a government contract. Mm-hmm. And those two kids were also seeing, I believe it was a psychiatric group that was within both states, and they were both taking the same type of meds. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something.
A lot of them had the same psychiatrist involved or had mentored the ones that were taking care of them. There were so many connections.
I'm not justifying it, but when the movie theater kid kind of woke up the next day, he was in the courtroom and he was looking around like, "What the hell is going on here?" He had no clue about what took place.
I think out of all of them, the one that we can really look at is Sirhan still doesn't have any clue.
Yep.
And so set up, and we can get into that one too. We have to understand, you guys are probably too young to remember Rosie Greer. Does anybody remember Rosie Greer on Mike Douglas doing needlepoint and stuff? This guy was a
football
refrigerator.
Player.
Oh my God, he was huge. What a nice guy. Did a lot of funny B horror movies back in the days. He did one where they had two heads. It was crazy. But Rosie Greer was a huge man. He was actually, A lot of people don't know this, but he was actually bodyguarding Robert Kennedy the night he was shot in that kitchen. And there was one security guard that was his first time there, never came back, odd that, dressed in a security uniform that had the right caliber weapon. Where was Sirhan when Robert Kennedy got shot? I'll tell you where he was. He was laying on the table with Rosie Greer on top of him holding the gun, and he just kept pulling the trigger. It was almost like, and the girl in the polka dot dress actually walked him in, said something in his ear, pinched his arm, and he just pointed and started shooting.
Yep.
Robert
Triggers.
Kennedy was shot in the back, like behind the ear and up under the arm, at close range from within, the ME report said, within a half an inch to an inch and a half away. Sirhan was about 6 foot back with Rosie Greer laying on top of him. So how did he shoot Robert? So that's when we can get into it again, too. Again, evidence. We've only got the evidence that is presented to us. It's allowed for us to see, and then there's the real stuff.
Well, talk about evidence. Something more recent. The BS they're trying to push off as an insurrection. I don't know. The last time I checked with an insurrection, it involves firearms and people not going through velvet ropes, getting stickers saying I'm, passed
and
to go
waved
through.
in, getting waved in.
Right.
Mechanical doors being open.
Hey, I know. I mean, I watched the police let people
we
in.
go round and
but
round, yeah.
There was that one woman that got shot.
Yep, he never got that close, baby.
Yeah, there was one woman that got shot, killed. She got shot dead, and there's another one of these type of connections to that woman. She knew stuff, and she was purposely killed. They shut down something from coming out in that thing. This happens all the time. This is what I'm trying to say. I'd have to sit there and really focus. And I have to go back and forth and tell me where. But this was done to make a big prize about killing an unborn kid, egged on by a satanic group, endorsed by satanic individuals within the military, and hidden by the military because we get our men on the bases. And it's not naval intelligence, it's criminal investigation, CSI, right?
Yeah.
CID. They don't like to lose, and they think, and there's a lot of stuff that's not being told. There's a witness to what took place there that knows things that took place because he witnessed certain things, but they didn't listen to him. And it's like a private or something like that, and they wouldn't listen to him. And it may be because he was black, and all this racism stuff that goes on in that era.
Oh God, yeah.
But,
they did that to what's his name in the Kennedy thing too. He is the one that thwarted the attempt on Kennedy in Chicago. And as soon as he turned in the information, I have information that there are 4 Cubans with high-powered rifles with scopes staying in this small little bed and breakfast here in Chicago. And they found out about it. They left the weapons behind.
Yeah.
And this guy turns in the information, and the next day he finds himself subpoenaed, and they lock his ass up to shut him up. I mean, we'll bring all that out and talk about it. But Mark Grobert is one of the most fabulous. He's my new crush. He is the most fabulous mind, and he is releasing all the information he's been studying for Kennedy and pop culture. He was the editor of National Lampoon. He was involved with the MTV. Magazine, he's been in pop culture all this time, so he has all these great stories, and he's good friends with Oliver Stone, and trying to get out all this information, and just wonderful people let me know about it when I was sick, and I binge watched the whole thing, and now I'm obsessed with it. So we'll probably be talking about the Kennedy session. I'm never going to be monetized, but that's okay, because we're just here trying to get out the truth. You know what I'm saying? I mean, last week I was all 100%. Now I'm questioning it. I'll go back and look again. I mean, if this guy has been locked up all this time, it's a damn shame. You know what I'm saying? It really is.
He's not getting out. And they're fine with it. And sometimes you just go with the flow on that thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's not worth you putting the effort in to fight with these people.
But it's really good now for these times, Brian. Donnie and I have talked about this too. Because looking at the past and seeing the mistakes or the things, the narratives we fell for, look, we've been looking at this for a long time and we're still here not really knowing, the whole story because it goes deeper and deeper and it's got roots and, weeds. But it's good to know and do these things, practicing to discern, because there's so many things we have to discern now, what's lies and what's not, and what's really happening and what isn't. And again, like the young man, or I'm sorry, I don't know how old he was, but said that he was so upset by something happening, with the wars and all this other stuff. He wants to commit suicide because he can't do it.
Yeah.
Stop that. There's nothing, you can't stop it.
So,
the only thing that you can
right.
do is take care of you and how you handle things. That's
So
it.
So here's something that people need to learn and lesson. And I don't want to get you non-monetized.
Be careful.
Oh, I think we're well past that point. I'm pretty sure we've crossed that a long time ago.
So the thing is, I want everybody to listen to this show to pay attention to what you're saying here. That the government's been lying to everybody since the beginning. Forever. And it continues to lie. They experiment on people. They use people to commit crimes and murders and assassinations. And then I want you to think about what's taking place the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And what they're asking you to support, what country they're asking you to support, and what country they're asking you not to support.
Mm-hmm.
The bad guys.
I think
you
the
need
opposite.
to wake the hell up. Wake up.
And these guys are. They
that's all
see
I'm gonna
it.
say.
Yeah, these guys know and they see it. And the thing is that gets me though is as soon as we feel we're pulled out, they're going to pull out another emotional, like grenade launchers. It's got to be emotional. It's got to pull you in and cause fear. And if you see that coming, you can go,
something like that happened very recently, actually, but I'm not going to mention it.
Right,
Yeah.
but you've got to, and then you go, okay, wait. Who's telling me not to fear? And who's telling me that I have the power and I have the light? And to go on, the best thing you can do is live your life, dance, sing, be happy, love the people you love, and do the things that you can do to make today a little bit better for yourself, for somebody else, for the animals, whatever, because that's how you win. You live, you love, you laugh, and that's it.
And you realize that we
right.
can coexist
if
if
you
you have
with the
separate
loosh.
opinions. No, seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
this division that they're doing right now is really, really bad. Look, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. You may disagree with it,
And
but it
that's
doesn't
fine.
mean that they're wrong, and it doesn't mean that you're right.
Right.
It's called being an adult. Everybody's entitled to it. I don't
We
necessarily
used
agree
to
with
be
what's
able
going
to
on.
sit at a dinner table and have different things and just talk, oh, that's that guy, he's for Nixon, I don't know, and he's over here and I'm for whatever. And we used to be able to have that because we had mutual respect. And I'll tell you where it was. We had respect for ourselves. We were taught to respect yourself and respect other people and their opinions, and your rights are your rights and their rights are their rights, and until you know what I mean? Until theirs come over on yours or yours go over on theirs.
Right.
This is supposed to be a community of people all getting together. Look at where we started. We probably started as a small, in all these little sectioned off tribal, things, trying to make our way the way we did. Some were killers, some were hunter-gatherers, and some were just trying to live like we are.
Yeah.
So again, no matter how much we went 3 nights, we did 6 solid hours of that show, probably more like 9.
Well, yeah,
And
closer
we're
to 9.
still no closer to really feeling firm on an answer. And we have all this information. This is amazing. I think it's an amazing night. I think that you're amazing, Brian. I'm so
Appreciate
thankful
that.
you're my friend. And I'm so glad you're getting out of New York and getting into Florida, Get you a wacky stick for all the alligators and the crazy stuff going out there. But,
Yeah.
but
Well, I'm getting a
so
wacky
glad.
sticker, right?
Yeah, but I think you should. I think I'm seeing that for you, that you're going to open up, and all this is going to come because you're going to be calmer. It's going to take a little bit, but you're going to be the world is going to be a little less at you. It's going to be great. And I think you're going to do things. I think a lot of people here would love to, look into doing this. I think it's amazing when you're remote viewing that they can see you sometimes.
So-
it's an amazing thing to me.
Oh, I've gotten caught a couple different times, and
That's amazing.
depending, I don't push the envelope too much. Some people that are promoting how they remote view everything and they're doing their shows about it. It's very interesting, but they're going to get their ass in a lot of trouble. And I'm telling you, they're going to get in trouble. And the way that the government wants you to stop is if you push the buttons too far, you're usually going to get for pedophilia or some kind of child porn thing. That's what happens. That's how they deal with people now. Because that they don't have to do anything. They just put you on trial, and then
That's it.
And then the inmates will do their job. I'm a dad. I protect my kids. Those people are disgusting. That being said, something I'd like to offer, and I think I've offered you once before. I'd love to be able to come on your show. What I'll do is I'll pick 3 different envelope targets. I'll put targets in an envelope, what they are, and we can actually have everybody in this chat, including you and Donny and whoever else you want to get on here, actually do try to remote view what's in that envelope.
Oh, how cool. That'll be fun, guys, right?
Yep.
We could absolutely
I'll try
do
it.
that. Yeah.
And the way it works for remote viewing is some people have different ways. I actually just get it, but some people will put a pen. They'll take a piece of paper and a pen. They'll focus on the the target, what the target is, and they'll start getting impressions. So they may take the pen and draw hash marks, or whatever, or they may put dots in, or circles, or they wavy lines. Just because you put wavy lines and you weren't thinking, or you just saw wavy lines, it could be a water-based target. It could be you may get bits and pieces of the actual image, so you're very close to it, and all it takes is a little bit more practice to open it up.
Right. It's like doing push-ups. You know, when I went into basic training, I can remember my drill sergeant coming out and said, the first 10 are going to kill you. And then you're going to really die the next day when you wake up. We got to do another, 20, whatever. And at one point, I couldn't do a push-up. And I do remember this I will tell you. I was in one of the first all-female basic trainings in Fort Dix. And they didn't quite know how to handle us. So they were still trying stuff out. And they asked everybody, it was the only thing we ever got to choose on. They said they have offered that in order to pass the physical, you can do what they call women push-ups, which is nuts because you bend your knees and then you know. And every woman in that thing said, no, we're doing what the men do. And that's how we started. And it was a beautiful thing because we didn't want any cuts. We wanted to do it, and I thought that was really cool. And that's kind of how we all got to look at this, we're just going to have to do what everybody else is doing to get their thing together as far as those people that have had their abilities and exercise them. The more you exercise them, just like push-ups, it gets easier and easier and easier. And you're at this point, you're going to find your way. And don't force it. If you can't do tarot, I'm terrible at tarot. And every time I do it, my guides are telling me, don't, for now. So I wait.
I'm going to send you those cards. I've got to send you the cards.
Oh, yeah. And see, that might be what I don't know, what I'm waiting on. Who knows? But before we go tonight, we got to let you go because we have done 3 hours tonight. I kept you up late. Thank you so much, Bri. I got one last little thing, a little surprise. Donny, all your work and stuff, look at you hanging there. And we kind of, all been validated. It's like we were kind of all right and all wrong at the same time. So we're not even really sure. But that's the way it goes, And it's just really looking at stuff and trying to feel things out. So, go ahead.
Can I add one more thing? Because he asked, Donny, you asked about this at one point, I think when Al was on your show. And you said about craft and aliens, okay? Here's a remote view that I did. And this relates to we were doing a CE5, event for this group that we were part of. Al wasn't there. He was out for whatever reason. So while everybody was listening to some Stephen Greer audio that they paid $400 for,
Holy mackerel.
I put in my headphones and I listened to my binaural beats and I focused, and basically I was able to travel. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what the hell was going on, but I literally left the Earth and I traveled up into the stars. There are 3 crafts there. In the craft, if you can figure this out, there was 2 different sections of the craft. I went into one craft. There were 2 rows of seats with gray aliens in it. And I was sitting in, and there was 3 gray aliens on each row. So it was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you're facing it. To the left of it, there was a main chair, very reminiscent of Star Trek type of chair, the old Star Trek, with a Nordic alien sitting in there that looked like fucking Thor. Okay? Huge. And there were other gray aliens, bigger. There's different types of grays. This was like the medium-sized grays near them. I'm in there, and I could see out what it looks like the window. You can see the Earth from all the way up in space. You see the outline of the continent on the East Coast. Okay. And I looked over, and everybody started looking at me, and I got up from my seat, and I went to see, take a better look. And I went and I looked out this window, and I could see across from me was another craft. You could see the aliens in the craft and another Nordic. And then I caught my reflection in the window of the craft.
What?
And
that's so cool.
I literally was a gray alien. And I was like, no fucking way. And I went in, and this is the weirdest thing. I went in closer, and I started moving my mouth, and I can see the pores and my mouth move, and it was open, and I could see in the reflection the other grays looking at me, like everybody was looking at me. And I turned around immediately and went, there are people down there, and they want to meet you and interact with you. They're down there. I'll point you wherever. And it was the weirdest shit in the world.
Wow.
And I watched it as we went closer. And once we got to a certain point, when they got to the New York area, because we were on the Hudson River, and we could see the bridge from there, where we were. And I was back at the spot where all of us were. There were 15 people there. And I said, they're coming from over there. They're going to give you a sign, and then, they'll be right there. And I pointed. And the minute I pointed, there was a big burst and a light, and it shut down. I said, can you do that again? Do it again for them. And it did it again. And then I said, I saw them moving in my head. I said, they're going to be over here. And the minute I said that, they were over there. Now, I thought I was losing my mind. 6 people validated exactly what I saw.
Whoa.
Now, the only thing they couldn't validate was me looking in the mirror.
It's seeing your reflection.
A reflection going, oh my God, this is the coolest thing. I literally was touching my face, and I can see my mouth move. It was the weirdest thing on the planet.
Do you remember, like, the teeth?
Yeah, it was like, it wasn't really teeth. It was just like this white thing. I don't know what it was. And I was like, I can see the shape of my lips. And then, like, these creatures don't have regular skin. Their pores are really bigger. And there's a reason for it, because gray aliens, when they eat, they don't eat with their mouth. They actually do it through, they rub it on their skin, and it gets absorbed into the skin. That's how grays eat. And I was just like, holy crap, this is the coolest thing on the planet. And I mean, literally, you can see, I was doing like, baking faces, and I'm watching my reflection, and then I can see these things, like I'm bugging out, like this is the coolest thing, and then I see these grays, like
you know what it sounds like to me, actually?
It was weird.
It sounds like, how many gray aliens did you see total? 6?
There was 3 on top. I was one of them. There was 3 on top, and there was two below. So if they're behind me, there's 3 up here, and then there's 1 over here, and 1 like in the middle. I was the one on the bottom shelf. Yeah.
So it sounds like that one gray alien got possessed by you.
Yeah, no. It literally became, I was somehow jumped into their body. But
wow.
That's very possible, and it's kind of hard to explain. And I don't want to take up any more time, but I'll come back. But that is
Yeah.
very possible. It's easy to be done with those types of grace.
I wonder
Incredible.
if yeah, because they all looked over at you, right? And because they're like, what is going on with Unit 5 over here? Unit 5 is
Literally,
in the mirror. What's
it was
going
like
on?
it was like a scene out of a movie. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell's wrong with Bob? You know?
I love this from
Yeah.
Froze Moments, and he's just made a breathing hole so far in this can of worms. So much to discover, 100%. And
Yeah.
also, I love all these wonderful comments. But I thought it was great that Froze did this. My daughter and I do this. It started by telling her to pick an object in kindergarten 15 years ago. And when she got home, I would have drawn a picture of it or close to what she thought about all day. Isn't that something? What
That's
a great
awesome.
connection to have with your kids and starting them young like that. How lucky she is to have somebody that understands, because so many people suppress their abilities because nobody understands around them. So absolutely reach out to your kids, to your grandkids, listen to them, like my poor mother listened to me when I was telling her I was having dreams of me, being a warrior, a man and a warrior covered in blood. I can't imagine how it must have scared her. But again, she listened. I'm sure she was scared to death, but but there you go. Bryan, tell us where we can find you again.
Prison? No, I'm joking.
Prison.
It's the Inside the Goblin Universe podcast, and which is also Nobo Boomy for me. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. Every social media. If you have questions, I'll answer them. Just PM me. Tell me where When you PM me, just don't say, "Hey, what do you think about whatever?" Like say, "Hey, I heard you on Cisco's show" or something. So I kind of get a reference.
Can I tell the quick story?
Yes.
Can I tell a real quick story of my first
quick.
impression of the first time I ever saw Bryan Bowden in the chat ever?
Sure.
It was probably the second show of yours, Cisco, that I ever saw. And I saw Bryan, I saw his avatar, and I could tell right away that you and Cisco like knew each other, or like were close. So he was like, "Oh," and he's probably been here a while. And then you said some stuff about like. You said some esoteric stuff. I don't remember what it was you said. And then I think you mentioned like the raw material or the Seth material. And I was like, oh, damn, this guy knows his shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
I do.
That was my first thought.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Look, I'm very accessible. I like sharing information. My wife hates that fact that I talk to everybody. And it's just what you're supposed to do. And I appreciate Donny.
Spread it around.
You know a ton of stuff too. You know your stuff as well. And Cisco is like Cisco medicine woman, I mean.
Oh, please.
she got my missus, right? You got her spot on of what was wrong with her, and she's a naysayer. She's a naysayer. No, I know, what you do.
I loved it when you guys walked up, and you're just walking towards me, and when I'm in that mode, I have no
just like,
shit.
Stop!
They just came down 6-7 floors from where we were in the Wyndham. They finally got a cigarette, both of them in their hands, and I'm like, drop the cigarettes, go here, you do this, come here, you're gonna get saged, and now go put it on the tree. And they put all their stuff into it was a beautiful thing. And then she gave me permission, and I ran my hands, and again, it's not me, I'm just a vessel. I'm just a vessel. And that's the way it is. I think our guides work through us too. Yeah.
It bugged her out. But, talking about, what's his name, Frozen Moments, I do the same thing with my girls now. I'll say, what number am I thinking of? Or I'll try to talk to them using telepathy.
Oh, do that.
But yeah, I'm everywhere. You can catch me wherever you want. Actually, I'm on season 2 of UFO Witness. But I don't know what episode. So.
Oh wow! You have to send us. Oh, did it? Send me the link so I can share it with the chat with everybody.
I will once it comes out. I don't want to get in trouble.
Please do. We're gonna take tonight. I thank you guys so much. This has been great. And this has been great. Everybody in the chat, this has been great. And like I said, don't feel bad if you felt one way or another. This is all up to you, what you think about with the crimes and stuff. But again, it makes us take pause about thinking everything. I was just saying this the other day, vantage point. I can look at a picture and I can see one thing, and then somebody else is going to look at it, they're going to see another, all from their vantage point, and we could both be wrong. And that's okay. We're trying to understand, and as long as we keep trying and learning from each other, that's exactly what we're supposed to do. So to take us out, I've got a little thing for you. I told you I was going to make some more designs. I think you're going to like them. I have a little special one in there for my gatekeepers. This is just 1 minute, and it's a little video to take us out. TeePublic is also having a sale. Make sure you hit the like button, and if you're new here, consider subscribing. It doesn't cost anything. Hit the little red button, hit the bell. That way you get your notifications, supposedly. Why? Because we love YouTube. And please share it out if you think this could help somebody or help somebody understand, especially a young person with abilities that are trying to understand what they're going through. And let them know this too shall pass. And wait till you get to the other end, man, because it's going to be something. So that's what it's all about. So here's this little video. Bryan, if you got to check out, honey, I know you're tired. Love you, baby. You know I do. Thanks for doing this. I know you're very busy. And I love the new headphones.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, it's better than nothing right now.
Absolutely.
Thank you for this. This was awesome.
It's just been
anytime.
great. All Donny's idea. He's doing great, isn't he, guys? All right, here we go.
God, yes.
It's just a little bit. There's like 30 different designs. This is just my TeePublic. If my mods have it, drop that link. This is more of a, Victorian looking. It's more of a beige, if you like that low style. But I wanted to put some stuff up here for Monday Madness. So you've got Strange Brew. I always love this episode art. And here's a new one just for my gatekeepers. And you'll see it here in a second. It's a Gatekeepers Cupcake shirt. Look at this. So here it says, you see the big picture? It basically says that the gatekeepers will be baking up fresh and furious cupcakes for you. And here is Zombie Steve and Skeleton Cisco. It's Stockton and Cisco, so you've got some Monday Madness in there. I don't know why you get the extra dot with a sticker, but take it. You never know. And the mugs. Again, they're having a sale. It helps the show. I get a little bit from it, and you get a t-shirt or stickers or whatever. I know times are tough, but I just want to give people an idea. It says, where the gatekeepers bake 'em fast and furious. There's little Crispy in his little chef hat for you guys. So if you like that, if you can't do it, that's great. Just give this a like or subscribe. Or if you've got a friend that would like this show, please bring them in. We absolutely, oh gosh, good night, Ted. We love you too, sweetheart. And there's a little funny duck. That's how you got to go at life, baby. Laugh it up. Yuck, yuck, yuck. All right, guys, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you, Donny Cho. Any last, final words for tonight?
No, I had this was just awesome. This was really fun. Not much.
There we go. LOL Cupcakes. We love you guys. Listen, you keep your feet under the covers and you keep your closet doors shut, because I guarantee you there are things that go bump in the night. Listen, good night, everybody. Take care. Just make good choices and be the best person you can be. And if you can't, tomorrow's another day. All right? Don't give up. Love you guys.